Welcome back. My guest this week, she is a Twitch streamer. She's got a lot of different video games that she plays and she streams with online. She runs an influencer management agency called Untamed, and she was recently on the Amazon video show. It's called The One That Got Away. And I have so many questions for you. Kasey, how you doing, Kasey?
So good. Thank you so much for having me.
For sure. Okay, so I'm trying to do some research here.
Okay.
I have a ton of questions because I love Twitch streaming.
Yeah.
But the main thing I want to know is, so I've been on like 4 different reality shows, and I have kind of and they asked me to go on the Bachelorette, but I was too old. Like they didn't realize how old I was when I went. I was 38, and like the oldest guy on the show is like 33. And
wow!
And I don't drink. Which, by the way, if you guys want to go on the Bachelorette and you don't drink, they're not going to want you.
I have so much to say about that. But yeah.
They have no interest in people who don't drink. Level-headed individuals with like a very like strong psychological profile. You guys notice not a lot of F-18 pilots that go on that show, right? So I done that. So I was kind of familiar with the whole reality show casting process.
Yes.
And shout out to Corey Bobkirk, because Corey, who put me on my first reality show, put me on several more afterwards. He legitimately used me for like a bunch of different stuff. I'm on a reality show now called I forgot what the name of it is. It's filmed by Paramount UK, and it's going on. They're filming it at CH3 right now. But the thing is, you mentioned before the casting process, and the premise behind the show is fascinating to me. So there's a bunch of people who had some interaction with you at some point in your life, some other men, and these other, or are there women? Are there same-sex attempts?
There's actually one gay guy on the show too.
Okay,
as well.
all right.
Yeah.
And they find these people who had some interaction with you either through social media or whatever, and it was the one that got away. So it may be a guy that was passing by in the gym or your high school sweetheart. So what exactly, how did you get picked? What was that experience like? And then how did they go through and find these people to be on the show with you?
Yeah. So originally before the pandemic, I was going to be on another show actually about entrepreneurs in New York City. And I went to the final round, and basically the whole world shut down. I was about to meet with the producer of Viacom for the final pass through. And, no more production for 2 years for all filming and television. And she said she would keep me in mind for the next show and opportunity. Yeah. So she reached out. I had no longer been in my relationship. It was 8 years long, and it was a perfect opportunity.
So that's a big deal with these things. They always ask if you're single.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who go to these tryouts and say they're single, and you're never going to believe this. They're not actually fucking single.
Yeah, because they go on for clout.
Yeah. So I had a friend. I'm not going to say who it is, but as soon as she hears this, she's going to be mad at me for saying this. But she's literally taken pictures of her boyfriend to for his IG, not realizing that these pictures were submissions for him to go on like Love Island or some shit. And it was and then she finds out about it later, and I was like, what in the world? Yeah, that I've definitely seen that happen.
That's crazy. That could totally happen because under NDA, you can't tell anyone that you're applying or you're going through the casting process. So many things could overlap and be misread and stuff.
Yeah. So we have that whole situation. And so you're single because previously had they asked you to go on a show like this, but you weren't single at the time?
No, it was just the entrepreneur show, and they had never considered me for a dating show because I was so open in a relationship. Yeah.
Let me ask you something. So you were on Twitch before this.
Before they cast me, yes.
So they get to see hours of you just sitting there interacting with your people.
Correct. Right? And I believe that's why they reached out, because on Instagram, obviously they saw me because of my following, but then on Twitch streams, they can literally watch me for like 30, 40 hours a week to see how I can handle myself in a live streaming situation, very similar to like reality TV.
Twitch streaming was your main income at this point?
It was during the pandemic.
30 to 40 hours a week. You did that one.
Probably more than that.
You did that one interview with the dude who said, I forgot the DJ, he did 365 days in a row.
Yes. Some people actually stream every single day to like raise a lot of money and gain a lot of viewership in a short period of time. So for me, sometimes I had 24 to 27 hour streams, and they were called like subathons. Yeah. So I would just incentivize my audience to subscribe, and it would add like an extra minute or an extra 15 minutes, depending on the amount that they would give.
And your main things are Animal Crossing and then later Fortnite.
Yes, correct.
You never tried Grand Theft Auto?
I mean, no, I love cars, but I think GTA was just something I just didn't really want to learn.
See, here's the thing about GTA. Here's the reason why I recommend people do GTA. Because it's so entertaining when you're not good at it. Like when you get ran over or shot, the game is so incredibly gratifying when you die that it actually, people who aren't good at GTA are just as interesting to watch. Whereas there's this huge skill gap in Call of Duty. massive. The
Yeah.
best Call of Duty players, I can't even touch them. Like they're incredible. The best Madden players, like they're real. I might be able to score. I play Madden. I used to play Madden semi-professional, so like pretty close. That's why I'm so into Twitch streaming. The best Madden players, the skill gap is large, but there's some randomness to it. Whereas like Grand Theft Auto or even Red Dead Redemption, you're just like skinning animals. You know what I'm saying? That's why.
Yeah, I mean that's why I did Fortnite, because it was still a community game, and
Yeah.
I was really focused on like switching from a family-friendly game
Yeah.
to like semi-unfamily friendly.
Yeah.
And I was really, really, really bad.
You don't die. You just sort of like dematerialize on the
Yeah,
game. There's
like
no blood.
There's no blood.
Yeah.
So, the children and the moms that were watching me
Yeah.
could like easily segue into Fortnite. But then I started cursing because I just missed my mouth and like it's
that game will make you curse.
Yes.
The other thing is
really
the ladder system in Fortnite is better. Meaning if you're not good, then Fortnite doesn't put you in there with Ninja.
Right.
Yeah.
But however, if you like squat up and there's someone else that's really good on your team, it
Then-
kind of pushes the algorithm to
Yeah.
put you in the highest ranked player.
I love that game. I do. I
It's
like
so
it.
fun.
It is super fun. I know a lot of people complain, but that game is so creative.
Yeah.
The fact that they just independently Epic Games did that and made it into $1 billion company, such a great story, man. I
Yeah.
really enjoy that. And I thought the game was super fun. Microtransactions. The other thing I loved about that game, I know we're getting way off subject. I love games where you can pay for skins, but not pay for better weapons. This is
Yes.
or
'Cause
pay,
then you're not cheating.
or pay for better players. EA, Madden, Destiny, like you pay, like literally you can pay to play on Madden. You can pay for such good defensive backs. You can run man to man the whole time, and like you just can't complete passes.
Yeah,
they
that's
just
terrible.
like you can literally buy your way into Deion Sanders on one side, and like then nobody can fucking. It's crazy what happens. You know
You're
what I'm
just
saying?
gonna go broke at that point. 'Cause
Yeah,
you're gonna
but-
become obsessed
Yeah.
and like an addict, like every video
That's
game
exactly.
person.
That's exactly. Dude, so I'm friends with Bilzerian. He had this one
Yeah.
game called Slither that he would play, and you could spend money to get better shit on there. He's like, dude, I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on this game to try to win.
Yeah, there's a lot of games like that. So
Yeah.
I tried to like stay away from that because I definitely have like gambling tendencies
Yeah.
and addiction personality issues. So I'm like, I can't have a game like that. And when I never bought myself skins, my audience would always buy them for me.
Yeah.
And then I would actually gift skins to other people.
Yeah. So, but you can't buy like the better AR. Like you have to
No.
go find shit in that game.
Yeah,
It's
no,
very
that's
much
automatically generated and updated every single season. And they like choose the map and everything for
and
you.
for those of you who've been living under a rock, think of Fortnite as basically the Hunger Games, but it's just like that. The
Yes.
circle keeps getting smaller, and you have to collect your own weapons.
Yeah, and you can look cute while doing it too.
Yeah, exactly. All right, get back to what we were talking about before. So
Okay.
you're making your full-time streaming twitching. We'll get back to that.
Yeah.
Or during the pandemic.
During the pandemic, yeah.
A lot of people change careers. I started my coaching program because of the pandemic. So now in this situation, what happens? They reach out to you for the first reason, and now they come to you with the premise. Is it a situation where they tell you the premise of the show and they don't tell you the title? Because I've been in that situation before too.
Yeah, so they did reach out to me, just the premise, dating people from my past, and I thought it was like perfect because I've been in a relationship my entire life. They actually had another name for the show, and it was called What If, which I think is a little bit better, but whatever. Amazon Prime, don't hate me. Yeah, and then the one that got away was basically made while we were filming because What If had some copyright issues or something, a competing name. So yeah, they reached out to me with the premise, and me as like the hopeless romantic I was at that time in 2019, I was like, this is perfect. I'm gonna find love on TV just like everyone does on The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Love is Blind. And I just had like a lot of hope for myself. So I really went into this with like a genuine intention and good experience.
Isn't that hard though? Because like they don't go it with the genuine intention. Like I don't know how they can find anyone to go on The Bachelor or Bachelorette that isn't looking for fucking like OF subscribers and Instagram followers.
Yeah, I mean,
I have friends that go on that show. They tell me, down low, it's like, yeah, fuck that girl, but like I had no intention of being in a relationship. Like I got rid of her.
Right.
Yeah.
but I thought like, I don't know, maybe I was so naive and that's why they cast me because they knew I was such a hopeless romantic.
Maybe that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, and they like believed that I was genuine in this, and I was probably still heartbroken at that time.
Okay.
Over my
You
relationship.
broke up with him or he broke up with you?
I broke up with him, but it
Okay.
was like kind of ending mutually.
Why'd you break up with him?
The red flags that appeared in the beginning of the relationship, I couldn't ignore. And
But it was 8 years. 8 years of like that. That's not a little red flags. That's like Afghanistan in 1983. That's a lot of red flags, bro.
I think
that's a
it's-
minefield right there.
It was like the unambitiousness.
That lack of ambitiousness. Yeah.
Lack
So
of- yeah.
the book of evolutionary psychology here, right? The ability to procure resources and the ability to show some level of competency.
Yeah.
During the caveman days, right? Plasticine, epic. by the way, whenever I say Pleistocene, what I mean is everything before 11,700 years ago, there was an ice age where humans were still around. And then at the end of that ice age, we began what's called the agricultural revolution 11,700 years ago. So when you say caveman or Pleistocene, that's what the time period you're talking about. During that epoch, there is no money. So the analogy for there's just competent men, the better hunter, fisher, the guy who literally is capable of doing more violence in order to protect his tribe. That's what women would find attractive. Yes. And then so the correlation for competency today is actual cash. It's money. Having money is a sign of competency to men and women.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. People don't realize like money is just an indicator and it's like a prize for showing how hard you work. It's not because we're trying to be sugar babies. It's actually because it's an attractive trait.
Some people are trying to be sugar babies, but yes, I get it.
Yeah, but like I wasn't obviously at that time. Yeah, and he also had like a lack of finances as well.
Sure.
So I really stayed with him and I felt like I was being more of the alpha in the relationship.
Yeah.
And he was being more of like the beta domestic type of role. And over time, because I was in my 20s, I just started my content creation from a full-time job.
Yeah.
As I was succeeding and making more money than him, and he was in debt, so he was actually negative. So I kept making more and more money. He kept supporting me on the sidelines, like a quiet little house husband type thing. And I didn't appreciate it at the time, but yeah, I just kept getting better and he kept getting less confident over time. And it made me almost like fall out of love with him.
You know what I appreciate is the fact, well, so first off, the idea of a woman making more money than a man leading to, in your case, not a divorce, but a breakup. This is something Rollo brings up a lot. It's a leading indicator of divorce is when a woman makes more money than a man or when a man loses his job, he becomes less financially viable. Money is the reason why people are like, what's the main reason for divorce? It's men cheating. It is not men cheating. It is actually money. That's the first thing. Second thing is that I have heard you previously talk about empowerment for women. So you can be for empowerment for women and at the same time recognize you want to date an alpha.
Exactly.
Both things can be true. You can also recognize, however, that that as a consequence of empowerment for women all the time, everywhere, you get to a point where the dudes can't keep up and always be alpha when 68% of college graduates are female. Right? And the workforce for traditionally male jobs has shrunk because of industrialization. You have a large group of men who have been left behind by the job market. They've been left behind in education. They've been left behind by the family, right? They've been left behind in dating. 80% of men on dating apps are deemed unattractive. They're too short or whatever has happened, right?
That's so sad.
Well, think about this. 63% of the right swipes go to the top 10% of men. The top 20% of men get 83% of the right swipes. Think about that.
I think you're right because I paid for Bumble Premium like last week. And like out of all the guys that like me, I'm usually swiping left.
Women on average will swipe right 5% of the time. Men on average, don't get me wrong, I might get this wrong. I think it's 40-something% of the time men will swipe right, whereas women will be 5% of the time. But I want you to consider this. 63% of the top 10% of men are getting 63% of the right swipe. So correlate that to what for men, the top 43% of women are getting 63% of the right swipes.
That's insane.
So 43% of women, that's a normal distribution, right?
Yeah.
For 10% of men to get 63% of the right swipes, that just means Brock the bartender is just getting nothing but attention. And Alex the accountant, who's like, he's 5'11 and a half and doesn't quite make $100,000 a year. Although accountants usually do make a lot of money. That guy right there is just getting left swiped like crazy, even though he's like 90% of what he could be. It's just crazy when you see that type of situation. Anyway, just pointing that out, like what, your breakup, that was one of the things, a lack of ambition.
Exactly. Yeah. So just over time, he just felt not confident. He felt overshadowed by me. And even though I was trying to motivate him, he couldn't listen to me because it was coming from obviously a biased person.
Sure.
And then, I eventually got him to seek therapy. I sought therapy too because I really wanted to make it work.
Sure.
But as he was starting to maybe get better, it was like kind of too late at that point. So it was just like we had to break up.
Were there any other men that you found attractive at that point?
Like during the relationship?
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, I have eyes. I always find men attractive, but I just try not to pursue anything with them.
So nothing like that happened? Like
no.
Near the end? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just, we lived together, so it was hard. In the pandemic, you don't go out, so.
Hey, boyfriend, this is Brock. He's going to be staying with us for a while. Anyway, all right. So let's get back again, one more time, back to the show. So now you're single, and they're going to film this during the pandemic, right? The previous show wasn't going to get filmed during the pandemic. This one is.
This one, it was at the tail end of the pandemic. We were wearing like mask and shield in between production sets and in between filming. And we had to get COVID tested like every other day before.
Yeah. Okay. So now at that point, can you explain to people the premise of the show? Because I'm still not quite sure how they find. I'm trying to think of somebody trying to find 40 girls that I might have gotten away. I'm trying to think how that would work.
Yeah. So basically, the casting process was 6 months long, which is long, like almost double the length of like any casting process. And that's because they find misconnections through our social media. They will stalk. Can I curse on you?
Yeah, as much as you want.
All right, cool. They will stalk the shit out of you on Facebook. They'll go through like your high school, your college, your preschool, like anything. They'll ask your friends. They'll ask your family. And then if all else fails and none of them are available to take like 6 weeks off of work, we could provide them a list of people that we thought that could come for us and might show up. I provided a list of 50 guys. Only one of them showed up, so...
Yeah. List of five that you might have missed out on. I can't think of 50 girls I might have missed out on. That's
you
crazy.
would be very surprised if you dig through like the thousands of Facebook friends and like the thousands of Instagram, whatever, and you really, really go dig deep. And I really wanted to get on the show, right? So
got it. Oh, that makes sense.
I really tried. Yeah. And then like other girls, I know they submitted like 250 names.
That's crazy.
So yeah.
This is kind of a weird analogy. If you go through survival school in the military, when they do the torture stuff, the torture scenarios, one of the things they'll do is ask the class ahead of you for secrets about you. So the guys that went into the class ahead of me, they went and snitched on me to the instructors at survival school, and they went through my Facebook. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like you're tied up, whatever. And then the guy starts questioning you, and he starts bringing up photos from my past, and I am freaked the fuck out.
No shit.
Yeah, because I didn't know anything about it until the end of my survival class. Then I have to snitch on the guys after me, and then because what they're supposed to do is throw you off. Oh,
wow.
fuck. I may have just have screwed up SEER school. Sorry. But I had heard that before I even went to SEER school.
Yeah.
I had already known about that. But that's one of the things they do.
So they dig through your social media profiles and find dirt?
So I used to manage a strip club before I joined the military.
Wow.
To my knowledge, I don't know that there are many other Air Force officers who was managing a strip club and then joined the U.S. Air Force. I've certainly never met one. So that was such a unique story that the instructors started like pulling up photos on my Facebook at the time. This is I'm going through SEER school in 2005.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's unsettling because you're ready to like buck up. You're being interrogated.
Yeah.
You haven't eaten in days. You haven't slept in days. And you're being interrogated and you're ready to just like, fuck this guy. I'm ready to get up and punch this guy. I have to remind myself, no, I'm in Spokane, Washington. This is a scenario, the training scenario. I don't want to really fight this dude. And you're sitting there, and then all of a sudden they start bringing up pictures of your family, and you're like, what in the fuck is going on?
Right.
And you forget that this is fake for a second. Just for a second, you're like, whoa, this is real. Like, this is really what, because that's what would happen. If you were captured by another country, that's what they would do.
Yeah.
They would look up your social media profiles. And so that's the kind of thing. And so you're snitching on the guys before you, right? That's what happens. Now I'm sure they have no trouble. I'm sure they just go through your IG, and the guys can find a ton of stuff.
Correct.
When you told that story, that's what it reminded me of. Yeah. It's like you have to give them, they're sitting there stalking your life, and you have to give them a bunch of examples of people that got away. I just can't think.
Right.
Yeah, it would be weird for me to try to think of like that many people.
It's really bizarre, right? And then I was so nervous because I thought they would like bring my ex on the show. I don't think he would ever do it.
Yeah.
But it could be like any exes you've had like so much trouble with or emotional trauma. And the thing is, like, you don't even know who the people are until you're filming. I didn't even know.
Crazy. And they're sequestered.
Yeah, basically.
Because of COVID.
I actually don't know what that means. What?
They're so when you have a jury and they're not allowed to watch TV, or you sequester them in a hotel, they can't see what's going on around them. They're not allowed to read the newspaper, etc.
Yes. So there's no cell phone, there's no internet, no computer. You're completely disconnected in like
Big Brother,
the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Big Brother's like that. Even after you get eliminated from Big Brother, they send you somewhere else and you still can't like see the world. That's
exactly.
Crazy.
And it drives you literally psychotic because all you can do is focus on love, and like being obsessed over this guy. And even if you want to see him in like 2 hours, they're going to make you wait like 2 days. And then you're just in your room by yourself, like isolated, and you're driving yourself nuts. Like you don't know what to do with your life. Like I really felt like a mouse in an experiment waiting to do.
I mean,
whatever.
that's Big Brother was just an experiment. Like when you go look at Survivor, the first Survivor was an experiment. Now, obviously, they were cheating. They were giving the people fucking McDonald's off camera, but it was just an experiment, you know. All right, so let's go back to what you were saying before. So now, how many? So you said you gave them 50 names. One of them showed up. What was the context of the one guy who showed up?
The one that was on my list.
Yeah,
he was the last guy that showed up, and someone I had a crush on in college. Okay. Yeah, and we actually like left the show together.
Okay, so that was the winner.
That was like the winner.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the other people they chose, give me some examples. Like which ones were crazy, which ones I can't believe this dude showed up. And you also mentioned there were a few like I have no idea who the fuck you are.
So, yeah, the first one, Dylan, I did not remember him at all. I think I would remember this like 6'4" dude.
Yeah.
Who was balding, but like, no, sorry, my bad. But like that was like his running joke. But anyway, he's bald now. But yeah, he showed up and I'm like live, right? There's lights like all over me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to not make myself look like a fool, right? And I was just like, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I don't know how to lie. So I was like playing it along and I was like, hey, oh my God, how have you been? I miss you. Like, blah, blah, who the, what's your name? And he's like he gets so confused, right? So he just like says his name is Dylan. And I'm like, wow, that's still not ringing any bells. Then he says his last name, right? And I'm like, that's still not ringing any bells. But I just like lie and I'm totally like, oh my God, you look so different. Like you had like a mushroom cut when you were younger.
You look so different.
And I was like, you glowed up. I'm like, because I don't recognize him. And it's so funny because they flash a picture on the show and he like does not have a mushroom cut at all.
Yeah.
Like I just totally made this up. And yeah, funny thing too, he actually didn't remember me either. This is like the inside scoop.
Yeah, I'm thinking you guys probably just like, it was a quick IG follow.
No, so apparently later we found out that he went to my school at NYU and we probably met at like a party through mutual friends. So I looked back and we were actually Facebook friends after the show finished filming. So yeah, that's where it came from, but I did not remember him at all. He also thought that I was a girl named Kasey who was of Caucasian descent.
Yeah, I think you guys both were like confused.
Wait, did his not look genuine either? His reaction?
I didn't know. I haven't seen that. I actually no. I think I did see that one. That was the one thing I did see. I don't know. It's tough to say.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. And then even though we were like mic'd up, I was literally like, yeah, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
That's funny.
And he was like, yeah, who are you? And then we kind of were just like, okay, let's just treat this like a blind dating experiment just for the two of us.
Yeah.
And like, frankly, weirdly enough, I actually liked him the most because he fit my type of guy, like physically. And I was like, well, now I'm just going to treat this like this is The Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then later on, he like screwed me over. So
How do you screw you over?
So
Do they have other options? The people that are there for you?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so 6 leads. We all have different dating stories.
Okay.
4 to 5 people from our past
How
come
long
to
is,
date.
how many episodes is the season?
10.
10. So the 6 leads, you see all 6 of them every episode?
Most of them. I'm in every episode, but yeah, I would say like they left around episode 5 or 6.
Because they met someone they liked, or it wasn't working?
They left with their ex, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Who came onto the show.
They chose toxicity. They chose violence.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and then she went back home and got knocked up and got pregnant with another guy. So
there you go. That's awesome. Congratulations to you.
Yes.
Like you received toxicity, so then you gave out toxicity, and then the world's a better place.
But now she has a baby with a boyfriend, so she's doing better than all of us, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, who's really losing here? Me. It sucks.
The baby's losing.
Oh my God. So, yeah, so most of us had like all that screen time, and you were asking me about the weird guys. So yeah, there was the Dylan that I didn't know, and off camera, when I invited him over to stay, right?
So what do you mean stay? Like what's the housing situation like?
So we each have like our own individual rooms, and they're like, it's so beautiful. Have you heard of the Calamigos Ranch? Like everyone has their wedding there in Malibu.
Okay, no, I have not, but I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's these like $2,500 a night like suites for us, like the leads, and then all of the arrivals live in like a house in like bunk beds and everything.
Oh, because it's COVID, so like a lot of these places are probably not even filled. At the time.
Yeah, I guess so, but they like made sure it was like pretty much empty.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so yeah, all the arrivals, there's always 2 people at one time for one person.
Okay.
So you are like literally living in the same house as your competition.
Okay.
And like all the other 6 arrivals are there for the leads too.
Okay.
Yeah.
The leads live individually, or do you live with the other leads?
We live individually, but next door to each other.
Okay.
So like in our own little house, we have a pool.
I remember you had like supposedly a feud with one of the other leads. Was that correct?
Yeah, that bitch. Oh, So yeah, so she basically tried to steal my man, Dylan, the guy that I was attracted to.
See, then this is where I'm confused. So now we're crossing the streams. So like, because were you having parties with all the arrivals?
So it's funny. So this was season 1, so anything went, right?
Okay.
We were like the guinea pigs of this show. So like the premise, we could literally make it whatever we want. So yeah, sometimes like the producers would have us be like, you're going to have a pool party today, or you're going to do this in a group setting. So I think we had some sort of maybe pool party or like group setting. I forgot where this was. And her being also 6'4", oh, sorry, he's 6'7", she's like 6'3", 6'4". Of course she's going to be attracted to the guy that's taller than him because that's what she wanted. And the first guy that came for her was like 5'8" or something,
I would love
short.
to see that. That's great.
It's hilarious, and he's great guy. He's also a gamer and a Twitch person, but definitely not a good fit. So she kind of like, said on camera like, hey, since you don't really like this guy, which she misassumed, or because I didn't know him, can I try to go after him?
Well, at least she asked you, right?
Right. But I said no because
okay, here we go.
And I was like, yeah, maybe like wait until like I'm done figuring and exploring out like this relationship, and then you can maybe try like after. Yeah, like basically saying like, yes, you can have my leftovers like after I have this guy. And yeah, no, she kind of just went and took him from the arrival's house, brought him back to her apartment complex or whatever.
And the producers are totally fine with this, obviously, because it's going to create drama.
Correct.
And they're filming the whole thing, probably while she's hand in hand.
Filming the whole thing. And they're telling me to go next door.
Listen, me and my girlfriend are going to start watching the show tonight. I'm so excited
terrible.
right now.
They told me I was going to have like a girls talk, right?
Yeah.
Like after my date with like this other singer dude. So I go in and I just like see him on the couch in front of her. And I'm like, you got to be shitting me. And guess what they made me do before then? Drink.
Of course.
And I was like, oh my God.
That's why I told you, like, again, no reality show, like The Bachelor, Bachelorette, they're interested in young and not sober. That is what they're interested in.
Yeah.
6-pack abs, young, naive, and not sober. That's what they want.
And I tried to be sober the whole time.
Yeah.
And then my producer's like, why are you not drinking? And I was like, I feel like I don't need to because I want to take care of my image.
They want you to choose violence.
Yes. And then she was like, my producer was trying to make me kind of like angry a little bit. And she's like, do you need some champagne? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Give me 3, actually. So I was like downing it. And I was like, my face is turning red. I was like, I didn't even need blush anymore. And lo and behold,
Do you turn red every time you drink?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what they call that, right?
It's an enzyme that's missing in some people that from East Asia.
Yes. Well, I'm going to say it because I'm Asian. It's called like the Asian glow.
Okay.
Right. Yes. But yes, you have the scientific reasoning for it, which I usually have to explain to people. So thank you. Sometimes, but like not really. But when I'm not like wearing makeup or I didn't eat that much, like my face will get a little pink, but like only around the cheeks.
Yeah.
And then when it goes away, that's when I'm drunk. So it was definitely away when I was, on the couch. I decided to literally sit in the middle of them because I was so pissed.
Oh God.
She's like, come sit. I'm like, I absolutely fucking will. And then I like sat in the middle and I just like, I'm, trying to make small talk. Like, hey, how are you doing? How are you, Dylan? Hey, Alyssa, how you doing? And then I just couldn't hold it anymore. I was like, listen, what the fuck is Dylan doing here?
Okay, Petty White.
I was so livid. And yeah, I just like lost my shit. And I started like crying. And I was like, why am I crying? It's because of the drinking.
Of course.
Yeah. So I cried a little bit, but it was like all for a good cause. Like it was my drama scene, but I was like fighting for my man. So it was totally
Did
fine.
anybody else cross the streams like that? Were any of the other 6 leads reaching into anybody else's pool?
No, I think that's the only one that happened. So yeah, but the producers were actually utterly surprised because they thought they said they thought I was like this calm girl.
Yeah.
And then I just like blew a fuse and they're like, oh man, you're so strong and like feisty. So we're just going to show you as like that strong character that redeems herself.
Is that who she chose in the end? Was Dylan?
No, she actually chose a really other tall dude, professional basketball player. Do you know Drexler. Clyde.
I know Clyde Drexler.
Yeah, so his son went on the show.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm not joking.
Was he balding?
He was already bald.
Yeah, Clyde Drexler was bald in his 20s. That's why I was bringing it up.
Right. So yeah, well, his son was smart enough to shave his head before the show, unlike my date. But whatever.
How tall was Clyde Drexler's son?
He was probably like 6'6" or 6'7" or
Okay,
something. Yeah. So that's who she left with, and guess what? They're still dating.
They are?
Why are like not the cool people on the show in relationships, but the cool people are single?
I think this is going to sound insulting. I think it's the ability to let go of rationality. I think that's what allows people to like hold on to attraction whenever they see red flags. And sometimes it'll work out, but often it won't, you know?
Yeah, and I think at this point I've become so good at like detecting red flags from like my experience, and the show really accelerated a lot of actually learnings too.
Sure.
And dating in LA, that accelerated it
Bro,
probably the
dating
most.
in LA, bro. That is the worst.
Have you done it before?
Of course, I lived in LA for 2 years. I was an actor for a while, and I just remember it was just like you do so much for so little, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Right?
explain.
Like the women in Vegas are so much more attractive on average than the women in LA. They're more attractive women in LA. So if I'm at the Playboy Mansion, the Maxim Party, Dan Bilzerian's house, or Babes in Toyland, the women in LA are definitely hotter. If I'm out on a regular Sunday night at Excess, the women in Vegas are hotter. Right? Does that make sense?
I see.
When I go to Greystone or if I went to Warwick or whatever, those girls don't even compare to what we have in Vegas. So for me, it was like I was doing less and being around more attractive women by being in Vegas than I was in LA. Whereas in LA, I'm like fighting and scratching and clawing to get into a nightclub full of people that I was like not interested in, and all the women, not all of them, I don't want to be super generalistic, but they were very, very much tilted towards extreme clout chasing, extreme drug use, and extreme chasing after money. Like,
Does that not happen in Vegas? I feel like it's also a kind of place.
Funny enough, it does, but the difference is no one's lying to you here. Like in LA, that's the king of, hey, meet my boyfriend. He's a music producer, but he's also a drug dealer, and he's also trying to manage an OnlyFans agency. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, I think you're so
he's
right.
A music producer, drug dealer, trying to manage an OnlyFans agency, and there's a show on Netflix he's got coming out, quote unquote, and he's gonna be famous, and let him into the club, and like the dudes are like, no, your boyfriend's a fucking loser. Like it.
Yeah.
There's so much of I'm gonna be. There's so much in LA of I'm going to be famous next year, or this new NFT or crypto thing I got is going to make me rich next year. There's so much of that, and they're delusional. And in Vegas, there's none of that. In Vegas, it's like nobody lies to you about how much that table's going to cost. And the girls who work here legit do make $240 a year as a cocktail server. So it's like, so it's the world here. While is it shallow? Definitely shallow. Are they lying to you like they are? Like, LA just feels like there's a few famous people at the top, and everyone else is just coping to try to hold on and to become it. Unless you do like what you're doing, which is Twitch streaming, or you're actually a cocktail server, or even like if you're it's like the difference between waiting to be a runway model versus a girl who goes to be a stripper. You could say the runway model is a more noble career, but the stripper's making money today. She's not waiting to be famous. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And so like Vegas is more of the second hand, where it's like everyone here is like they're making money today. Oh, this is the best way to explain it. In LA, you got to look on it. Okay. In LA, you have to look good on camera. In Vegas, you have to look good in person. That's the difference.
Really?
Yes. There's no way to get a job in Vegas. There's no way to get a job in Vegas and just look good on camera. You have to look good in person.
No, you're right.
You're not going to get you're not going to, Drake, I think the table mins for Drake at Excess were $100,000. One time, Calvin Harris played at Excess one time. It was $1 million. Like they paid him $1 million just for the performance. Dance floor, I mean, you're talking anywhere from 25 to 50K. The cocktail server for a 50K table can't look good on camera. She has to look good in person. There's no way, you can't face app your way to faking this. So that's why it's a little different here than it is in other cities. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah. Would you say like LA has more of an imposter syndrome then?
It's not imposter syndrome. They're just imposters.
It's not a syndrome.
Yeah, imposter syndrome, you have to have empathy. Imposter syndrome, you have to like not be a psychopath. No, in Vegas, in LA, they have narcissists and psychopaths. They're just imposters.
Yeah,
and I've never been to a city with more fake rich people, and I've never been to a city with more people like telling me their plan how they're going to be rich next year than I've been in LA. And then just like their nightlife is, I think the nightlife in Wichita, Kansas is better than the nightlife in Los Angeles. The nightlife in LA is just terrible. Like it really.
Interesting. Why?
Because everyone is, just next time you go out to a nightclub in LA,
yeah,
look for the club promoters. They look angry. They're wearing all black. They're staring at their phone. They have like a ball fade on the side with their hair swooshed over. They're wearing a hoodie with no sleeves. Like, are you hot or cold, motherfucker? Like, I don't understand. And they're like,
Oh my
the
God.
girls in the group are wearing sweatpants, and it's a race to the bottom to see who looks like they care less about how they dress. And everyone looks so incredibly unhappy when they're there. And it's like, this isn't fun. But in Vegas, what do the guys wear? They're wearing suits. They're wearing Brooks Brothers suits that are bright blue with
like
really
dressed
beautiful
up.
shoes. The hosts are. The hosts always tell you yes or try to find a solution for you. No one's mean to you at the door. When you walk in, there's big bright lights and confetti. Everyone's there to tell you yes in Vegas. Everyone's there to tell you no in LA. That's why I think it's very different.
That is so interesting.
You can't turn left in LA. Like there's traffic is there to tell you no. The housing prices are there to tell you no. You pay $3,000 for a fucking 1-bedroom that's sliding down the Santa Monica mountains, and the foundation is rotting. The world's there to tell you no. You want to go park at your friend's place? No, there's no place to park. Like LA's just always telling you no. Vegas is always telling you yes. You want to come park here? Yes, come park. You want to get into the club? Yes. Oh, you're a local? Come on in for free. We'll give you whatever you want for free.
That's so interesting.
Tonight we're going to Cathedral, the brand new restaurant inside of Aria. Probably not going to have to pay for anything. We're going to be there with celebrities. Vegas is there to tell you yes. LA is there to tell you no. That's the reason why I like it living here more.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm originally from New York, so I definitely miss like the people in New York versus in LA.
But in New York, how many friends did you have that didn't own a car? A lot of them, right?
Most of them.
Yeah, right. So
none
in
of
LA,
them really.
people still think they all need a car. That's why like Chicago, there's like it's kind of a mix. In LA, everyone still has a car, or a lot of people still have a car, but there's nowhere to park. In New York, they've given up on that notion, and everyone takes the bus or takes an Uber, a subway, or whatever, and so you don't have the same problem. It's actually easier to get around in Manhattan with 8 million people on the island than there is to get in LA
100%.
with 4 million people. It doesn't make any sense, but it's like. LA is like if you have a son who's 6'8" with a 40-inch vertical who tells you he doesn't want to play basketball. It's just disappointing. The whole place, LA could be the greatest city in America, but they're so ass backwards with the way they do things. And that's why like when you see San Diego's beautiful, it's incredible. Orange County is incredible. All these places terrific, but like Los Angeles, they just miss the mark on so many different things.
Interesting. I've actually had like the most friends in my life in LA.
For sure.
But
I have a ton of friends in LA too. I just can't get to them because I'm in Santa Monica and they're in Silver Lake, and sorry, we'll never see each other again.
That's actually very true. If you're like more than 30 minutes away, you're like never seeing your friends.
Correct.
More than twice a year.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. But I'm enjoying it. I just moved there like a year and a half ago. So I'm kind of just taking what I need, especially for like networking purposes. But definitely I've been burned by people in my industry who I thought were going to be my friends or were my friends, were my ride and dies. But unfortunately, it was mostly for clout chasing.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I've definitely been like burned by that.
What do they
like,
do when you say
influencers.
burn? They try to steal your connections, try to take your dude. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. Well, it's more like they're always asking for stuff from me. And I like realize they're only talking to me because they want me to do this or like help them with their following or something like that.
Yeah.
Exposure, tagging. I don't think they are genuinely wanting to get to know who I am because they're not asking deep questions, which I guess, not all friends do that. But in order to have like really best friends, you do have those like better conversations. And I just never got to that depth level with really anyone. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely hard. I have a couple of friends who are like pretty successful that maybe run a company, and I see the group of yes men that follow them around, and I always try to remind them, hey, dude, I'm never going to ask you for money. Just FYI, ever.
Right.
I'm never going to be like, hey, bring girls to what? I'm never going to say that to you. I'm all like, if you want to hang out with me, we can hang out. It's cool. If we disagree with each other, I'm not going to tell you you're right when you're wrong because I'm not like the rest of your friends. I don't need your money, don't need your girls, and I don't need you to tag me in shit. Just FYI. I tell a lot of my guy friends that initially because a lot of times they have a hard time with that, specifically, especially if that's what they're used to. There's a couple of guys. One guy's a fortune, like he runs a publicly traded company here, and it was that type of situation where everyone around him was just yes men, yes men, yes men. And then I would hang out with him and be like, hey man, I just let you know I'm never gonna ask you for money. And then his friends got intimidated and just did nothing but talk shit about me behind my back. So I just didn't want to talk. I just want to hang out with the dude anymore.
Wow.
Because of it. Yeah. So how many arrivals are there? How many people that could possibly be the one that got away? How many? Was it 30? Was it 20? How many was it?
In total for everyone or per person?
Per person.
Per person, it's like 4 to 6 people.
4 to 6. Okay, that was all it was. Okay, got it.
Yeah. But like if you multiply that by 6, right? That's
60.
Wait. 6 times 6 is not 36. At
6
the maximum.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
I'm
living
sorry. I'm
in
thinking
house.
of 10 episodes. You're right. 6 people,
Right,
6 people.
right.
That's 36 people total. Yeah.
Yeah, so about 36 people total could be like living in a house all together, like in bunk beds and all of that stuff. But yeah, about 4 to 6 people, because you get about 2 to 3 dates per person, depending on how far they advance. So you could have like one date, decide if you like them or not. If you do like them, then you have actually the second arrival comes through. So you always have 2 people that you're dating at the same time. And then you kind of get to choose like who to send home and who to keep.
Did some people not make it through their whole 6?
There was actually a guy who was quarantining who was supposed to be like my 6th date in the hotel. And he actually never made it on the show at all because I picked the person before, which like sucks for him, but he got paid to quarantine. So that's like whatever. But yeah.
All right, so you go through your 6. This girl comes in and tries to snake one of your dudes.
Yeah, the first dude.
They tries to snake the first dude. Were there any other like interesting interactions besides you and this one girl? Some of the other people. I think that you said there was a gay dude on there. What was it?
There was a gay dude on there.
Hold on, I'm curious. Were there any straight women that were in his 6 that were trying to get him?
No.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like complete misunderstanding?
Yeah.
That would have been funny.
That would have been.
I think that would have been interesting.
But I think they really wanted to show like
some diversity,
gay representation,
Sure,
on the show. That's why, which is like what the show was really good at. It was like there was a lot of diverse people on it.
Yeah.
There's like a black male, a black female, Asian man, Asian female, a gay guy, white girl, obviously. So it was like really incredible to see like all of that representation.
Okay.
Interesting interactions. Oh, I think before you asked me like the first guy, like what happened, like why was he clout chasing? Like how did I see that?
Yeah.
So basically I got to the point where like the producer made me tell him that I was falling in love with him. Basically brainwashed me. Like they would literally ask the question like 35 fucking times. And they'd be like, so are you falling in love with him? And I'm like, no, it's only been like a date or 2.
Inception.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, but like how do you feel? How does your heart feel when you talk to him? Do you get butterflies? And I'm like, maybe like 1 or 2. She's like, so you feel a lot, right? And I'm like, yeah, totally. And I was like, sometimes I was just like, let me just say yes so she could stop pissing me off at this point. But yeah, so eventually I told him that I loved him, but I was like actually probably more falling in love with him, maybe. I don't know. My emotions were like at an all-time high. In reality, probably I wasn't, but it felt like I was. And then they kind of made him say it too. And then when I brought him home, because I was like, okay, like now it's time to consummate our marriage or whatever. It was not really a marriage. I was like, stay over. And I just want him to sleep next to me. I want it to be like this wholesome girl, right? I go in and like completely, like this is on the show too, his demeanor changes. Completely. Like he used to hold my hand, he used to hug me, he used to like get me water and like coffee and all of these sweet
And this is why you think he was
things.
clout chasing. Got it.
Yes. No, he was. I mean,
no, I'm saying that this is what your clue for him to be clout chasing. Like,
yes,
as soon
like
as
that
he
immediate switch.
As soon as he gets to the 1 yard line, all of a sudden everything starts changing.
Exactly. But what he didn't know was that there's cameras in my room. Our mics were off because they're supposed to be off like when we're behind closed doors. But you can literally see him. He's like sitting across. He's like folding over his hands and like he's acting like I'm like one of his homegirls. You know what I mean? And he is just like, yeah, so this is crazy, right? And I'm like, what's crazy? And he's like, this whole thing, like you're acting, right? And I'm like, yeah, totally. I'm acting. And in my heart, I was so like furious.
Of course.
I was so furious. But I was like playing it along because I kind of wanted to save this information for ammo later.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, totally.
Was this recorded or not?
That wasn't recorded.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you guys are getting like the inside scoop of like what actually happened. And then yeah, he just continues like, we're acting, this is ridiculous. He's like, we should just stick together to the end and like make it, right? He's like, you're like an influencer, I've heard.
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
oh my God, bro. Oh.
And I'm like, this
bro,
guy's
I can't even imagine.
an idiot.
Yeah, it's funny. So one of the shows I was with, the girl that I ended up picking in the end, her and I.
What show was this?
It was Millionaire Matchmaker.
Oh,
It was
sweet. I haven't watched it.
2017 I was on. And the girl, Andrea, that I ended up picking, her and I, like, we didn't really date, but we went on a bunch of dates, like, for about 6 months. We were, like, good friends, whatever. We did go on some dates for a while, and I really enjoyed, like, hanging out with her, but it just wasn't going to work. Like, I lived in Vegas, and she lived in L.A., and she was looking for something very different. She's married, happily married. Congratulations to her. She's awesome.
Oh, that's great.
She's awesome person. But yeah, that was one of the situations. I think we were like, there's 2 people that actually went on dates afterwards. I took her to the observatory afterwards just to hang out or whatever. But it was one of these situations where we really weren't faking it. Like we were both pretty attracted to each other, and I thought it worked out. It worked out well. But the other people on that show that season, remember, there's 2 guys or a guy or a girl in every episode, and there's like 17 episodes. It ended up being like 34 different people.
That's a lot.
Like 2 of us ended up seeing the person afterwards.
Wow.
No disrespect to Patty. I actually did a show with Patty afterwards. The Great Love Debate. I don't think matchmaking is a real thing because it tends to be women who have preferences that almost always end in a $sign or begin with one, and the men whose preferences always end in an age, youth, and physical attractiveness. That's not really matchmaking.
Wait, who's matchmaking you though on the show?
Patty Stenger. She's the one who does Millionaire Matchmaker.
It's so funny you said that because I just paid for like professional matchmaking services.
Yeah, but are you looking for men specifically because of how much they make?
I have like a minimum requirement, but like
was the minimum requirement you gave to the matchmaker the same one you gave to us on the show on Access Vegas on Thursday?
It's a little higher.
I'll bet.
But that's because I paid like $7,000 for like 6 days.
Dang, holy shit.
I mean, it's better than like
move here and I'll just introduce you to trashy dudes. Are you kidding me?
I just like would rather invest in my love versus a Gucci bag.
I want to know how this ends. You paid $7,000 for a matchmaker? Hold up. Time out.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I'm just
and that's a discount, by the way, because I negotiated it and I had the Thanksgiving special. So it was actually like $10,000.
What the? That's crazy.
Right? So it basically amounts to like a little bit over $1,000 per date.
What has your experience in that been so far? You paying for a matchmaker. I am very familiar with men paying for matchmakers, not women.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Is it a lot of women are doing this?
I feel like a lot of women in LA
you know
this.
what? Yes, women who make a lot of money, I absolutely could see this. Yes, okay.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, because it's harder for us to date
for sure
and to find.
And we're gonna talk about that specifically.
Yeah. So I went on one date.
Yeah.
And it actually did not go well.
Okay, shocking.
So you know why? Because my matchmaker sucked. So I fired her.
Okay.
And I was like, you are not listening to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, where in the world would you think that this vanilla guy would get along with someone like me? Like he only fit my like tall criteria and stable job part. And I was like, what about the conversation piece? Like, didn't you interview him? And I remember like, we're not supposed to really talk about like the matchmaking process on the date.
Sure.
But he was basically like, he told her that he was not a good texter. That is big for me. I need communication. I am a level 6, level 7 out of 10. If 10 being like, you're constantly 24/7 talking and like calling, I'm like at a 6 or 7, okay? And he's basically like admitting to the matchmaker that he's like a 2.
Kylie and I FaceTime for hours a day sometimes.
See, that's so cute.
Yeah.
And like, that's just a preference. So like
we'll be doing nothing. She'll be in the bathtub and I'll be playing Madden. And like literally we aren't even saying anything, but we're just like looking at each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I want that. And that's like possible for like the right person, right? Yeah. So yeah, apparently he does that. And then my matchmaker's like, oh no, she's like successful. She's busy. Like she won't care. That's not true.
That's crazy.
We care more about affection because our day-to-day life is so cold and isolated, especially when you work by yourself, you know?
I think the best matchmaker are friends, high status friends that have high status other friends. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Also, because you can do a little bit more research, where the matchmaker cannot. Matchmaker is being told a story. I don't mean to shit on the whole matchmaking profession. It's just there's way too much money involved, going both ways that where it makes it a little bit of a conflict of interest. Do you understand?
Correct.
Because here's the reason why I'm saying that. You're giving a preference for how much money you need, and that means men who have money are also in this game. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Which I feel like is more equal, don't you think?
No, because what's happened is you have a bunch of men who are coming into this system specifically leading with money, which I highly recommend men do not do that. So I teach a networking course, right? My performance coaching. What I do is I teach networking, but we don't use money. So that when you have money and you add it in, then everything just becomes easier. Rather than what a lot of guys do is they lead with money. I mean, I've seen delusions to the point where there are men here in Vegas who will talk a prostitute down from $2,000 a night to $1,500 and then brag that they have game. Like, what are you talking about, bro? You're paying they completely lose the fact that you've lost the plot, pimp.
Right.
Like, this is crazy. And the girls are laughing at them the whole time. And like, that's what happens. And it starts to screw them up. I've had clients before just be like, yeah, my mind is really messed up because I'm very wealthy and I was married and I was paying for prostitutes. And to work them out of that is so difficult.
Yeah.
It's almost like being addicted. It's very similar to being addicted to porn.
Exactly.
It's something you have to work because no matter what I do, there's going to be this dopamine drop. No matter what happens, a guy getting off steroids, a guy getting off drugs, a guy getting off porn.
Addiction.
Yeah, it's this addiction, and you have to when you get them off, this just dopamine void that happens, and it's just so hard to get them through that initial period.
Well, but what's great about the matchmaking is there's like a cheaper option where you pay like less than $100 a year. To just be in their like roster.
Of course.
Of whatever.
Well, super hot girls aren't paying. That's why I was so confused because I don't imagine you don't have too much trouble getting guys to ask you out.
But that's the issue. Like, I think I attract too many, so I get a lot of sleazy people and like broke people.
I'm gonna give you a tip. Ready? Here's your tip. Ready? Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna start having all the dudes meet you at Babes in Toyland, at the teatro parties, at the Maxim parties. Why? Because you can see them in an environment where you're kind of on equal footing, and instead, I think dates are for people you're dating. You're not dating these people yet. You're just being matched with them. And I think putting them in a neutral environment where you guys are volunteering at a soup kitchen or going to an animal rescue charity is a way better way to get to know them with less pressure. And your friends are around and their friends are around. I think that is a better way. You see how they
interact and everything?
Hell yes. I think that is a way better way to do it than a one-on-one date. I think one-on-one dating is like you're starting with the middle and you need to start with the beginning. And the beginning is generally normal people meet by bumping into each other either online or in person, and you're not doing that, right? The blind date thing makes it kind of hard. So anyway, that's what I would say. I had a friend of mine, she would like literally come to my events and invite 4 or 5 dudes that she knew to come. Just like, hey, come meet up with me. And she would just see how they interacted.
What?
Yeah.
Was she interested like in all of them?
No, she wasn't. She didn't know which one she was interested in. Funny enough.
Oh my God.
Kim Hoggart, I'm calling you out if you're still out there or you're watching this. One time she invited 5 dudes out to this pizza place called Foozie's that was in Dallas. For you guys in Dallas, there's a new Foozie's out there, but it's not like the old one. It's on McKinney. And I'm sitting there with her. I remember it's 2011 because the Mavericks were they're going to go to the NBA Finals that year. And I'm sitting there with her. I'm like, you invited 5 dudes here? She goes, yeah, 5. So the 5 dudes show up. And one of the guys, his name was John. He was like, fuck this. I'm not staying here. But he wasn't rude about it. He's like, hey, it was great to meet you. I'm going to dip. She ended up dating him. She ended up picking the guy who actually set the boundaries and took off.
Wow. Because it shows like character.
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, well, that's what a man, man who knows his own value is going to have boundaries.
Interesting.
And it's not that he was offended. He was just like, I want to get to know you. That's not going to happen here. So I'm going to go do this other thing to build my empire. I'm not going to do this with you. And if you're interested, then call me back later. But if you do that with no emotion, that's really attractive, I think, to some women, as the idea of you being able to maintain a boundary and not get called off and just like, now I'm going to compete and supplicate to you and compete with all these other men directly. I'm going to not compete. And if you can't recognize my value, then I'm going to move on because I recognize my value. That's why I think she picked him.
That's interesting. There was this guy that I like last dated. He was very stable. Like had a great job. He was quieter, very smart, tall, dark, handsome. I was like, man, I hit the jackpot. But I realized he couldn't keep up with my lifestyle. So
what do you mean? You're
literally
you're not doing cocaine in like a nightclub. I don't understand.
I think I brought him to one of my like events, like my red carpet events, and he was like helping me film and stuff, and I was like trying to be like not annoying about it, and I was like, hey, can you just like film me for?
Oh, that's my thing, dude. I'm so good. If there was a competition for taking photos and videos with an iPhone, I would go up against anyone. I am so good at composition with this goddamn phone, and I plug lights on here. I don't understand why other people don't do this.
I mean, he did it. He was like, okay, like let me do it. He's like, you got me a ticket to like, I think it was an influencer event, like Cirque du Soleil or whatever, and he was like happy about it or whatever. But I think he realized like I go to bed late, I drink sometimes, I like go out and socialize, I network, I go to events because it's literally my business to network with people.
Sounds fun to me.
Yeah, and like he just was like, I don't think we're compatible. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I was actually going to send a very similar message to you today, but thank you for doing it first. So, you know, I've had very opposite extremes of like men I would date. Some people can't keep up with my lifestyle. Some people want it too much too.
Sure.
Clout chasers also come in men form.
Why are we going to bed at 2? Let's go out after hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I would like be up until 6. I'm like, this is not a good dude. I could do this once in a while, but not all the time.
If your girl wants to go to Dre's after hours followed by the Rhino, she's not your girl. She's our girl. That's what's going on.
So,
she
like,
belongs to the galaxy.
So what's good in a girl like partying ratio? Like what's deemed unattractive? Like if she parties like more than 3 times?
Teammate. What makes it girl is, are we a united front? What one of the problems where like when I knew a girl was just like, I hate to say it like this, but for the streets versus a girl that I'd be in a relationship with is there an end to this? Like I remember there was one girl I was super attracted to. We went out to the club and then we went to Dre's after hours. And if you guys have ever been there, it's like you're in like the fourth level of hell because there's no cell signal. It's hot as shit sometimes in there and everyone's dancing and it's just basically coke dealers. Like, you know what? I shouldn't say it like that. I love Dre's after hours. Shout out to Dre's. I actually love the fuck out of that place. But it is not where stable relationships go to find more stability. Allegedly, some people do drugs at nightclubs, not just Dre's, but like nightclubs in the city. Who am I talking about? It's Dre's after hours. We all know. And it's an icon. It's an icon.
Yeah.
People, when they come visit here, they go to Dre's. But you need to go as a couple. I have seen so many times where a guy and a girl will go to Dre's and the girl will get in and just look back at her guy and be like, bye-bye, I'll see you at the hotel later. Like, happens all the time.
No way.
Yeah, because the guy can't get in or whatever. I see that happen all the time. Are you a united front? Right. Or am I following you to a club to watch drug dealers compete for your attention? If you want me to do that, maybe I'll do it once, but I know you're for the streets. I know deep down you're for, it's like Juicy J, like, they ain't faithful to anybody like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's a huge sign. If we're going to go together. Now, here's what happens. When it's 2:30 and I'm hungry and I want to go eat something healthy somewhere, are we going to stay here all night because you need to listen to more house music at 4, 5, 6 in the morning? Are we going to go get some kind of sleep and eat something reasonable? If at some point, if we're a couple, at the end of the night, we should be having sex together. I don't mean to be crass, but we should be having sex together at the end of the night. That's what a normal couple would do after going out and a little bit of drinking or whatever. If instead of us having sex, we're going one after party to the next after party to the next after party, and we're just so stimulated by the environment, we're not actually a couple. We're not a team. I'm just following you around hoping to get lucky. And that's not setting my boundaries. So that's what I would tell you. As long as you do it together, it doesn't matter. I've seen successful, I'm sure you have too, successful relationships of people who just go out once or twice a month and just do a bunch of coke and Molly. I've absolutely seen successful couples where they do Molly together once or twice a month or do some drugs together. Or get hammered together. I've seen that.
Right. But they're always together.
But they're together. Yeah. That's it. And I'll tell you another example. My friend Claudia Fajal and Dan Stevens, they're always together. Claudia is really pretty and she gets invited to a lot of parties, but rule number 1, she understands my husband comes with me. That kind of couple, if they partied 7 nights a week, it's fine because they're always together. They understand the priority is that we go home together, and the prize at the end is we are in bed together naked at the end of the night. Anything other than that, if something else gets thrown in them, oh God, we stayed out till 5. I'm tired. I'm going to go home. For the streets. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Like she would just go by herself?
No, I'm saying in general, girl. Like, listen, if we're ever out and we go to Dre's after hours, just as an experiment, stand out there and watch all the girls that get in and just leave guys behind. Happens all the time. Because Dre's is a fun fucking place. They play trap music 4 o'clock in the morning. I love the play. Don't get it twisted. I love Dre's. But the thing is, we all know why you're going to Dre's. You're not going to Dre's because it's Bible study time. You're going to Dre's to have more fun. That's what Dre's is for. Of course, yeah. Same thing if you want to go to the Rhino 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. That's what you're doing. You're there for a different reason. Yeah. You know? Big bathroom stalls for a reason, you know what I'm saying? So like that's kind of the Vegas way. Now here's the thing is as a couple, are you going to do this together? If you're going to do even if you go to have a threesome, are you going to do this together? If you're going to do it together, you're good. The problem happens when you start going outside the bounds and like she can get in VIP but he can't, then you both don't go to VIP. Then that's a girl who's down for you. If it's one of the situations where you can't do that, like frequently, I'll tell you right now, a great delineation would be like the Ignite parties. Dan would invite a bunch of girls or his promoters, whatever, would invite a bunch of girls. And a lot of girls would go and not bring their boyfriends, specifically with the intent of hooking up with Logan Paul or Machine Gun Kelly or whatever celebrity was there.
Wow.
If your girl's down to do that, and then there was dozens of guys, like Dan talks about this in the books, outside of his house, 10979 Shalon Road. He doesn't have the house anymore, but it was the one in Bel Air. There are dozens of dudes standing out there just waiting for their girlfriend to come out to see if he comes out, holding hands with Devin Booker or whoever was at the party.
Yeah.
And so that was the issue. And so that's the thing. Do you have some level of loyalty? If you don't, then that's where to me, that is the level of delineation. If you guys go to strip clubs together, you do drugs together, that's fine as long as you're together.
Right.
And just because you don't do those things and you're tame doesn't mean your relationship's going to work if you're not together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sometimes my girl's working on her schoolwork and I'm playing like Fortnite and we're laying on the couch and we're physically touching each other, like her legs over my leg, but we're doing our own thing together. If we're doing that together, then it's fine. But if we can't, then and it's one of these situations like, hey, there's this cool party, but it's unique with me because there's not a lot of parties I can't get into. Usually I actually have more access than most of my female friends.
Right.
I'm the one taking them to parties. Because of that, it's a little unique for me, but a lot of my guy friends have this issue where she's invited to a thing that he can't get into.
Yes.
And because of that, it becomes problematic.
That literally happened to me yesterday.
Well, okay.
I was with basically 50% guys, 50% girls.
Yeah.
And the promoter there
Mm-hmm.
and the people at my conference, they could all get me on the stage.
Yeah.
And maybe one other person.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to leave my group. Even though I was this is so cool, I've never been here. I want to be next to the DJ. It's Tiesto. Oh my God. And they were like, no, go. And I was like, I literally can't because I'm here to network with you guys and be friends with you. So I'm going to stay behind and stand by literally the exit sign. And then we crawled over to a table eventually. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Zook. We had Tiesto there last night and it was so packed. I go on stage I try to go on stage at least once a week, either Hakkasan or Omnia, definitely Wet Republic. Next week I'm going to Alinea at Tau Beach, and then I try at least once a week to go to Zook and at least once a week to go to Excess. I know it sounds like I go out a lot because I do.
It kind of does.
Because I do. I was on stage with Steve Angelo last night, and then Tiesto last night also. But it was so packed that it really wasn't conducive to just hanging out with your friends there.
No, it wasn't. We were
yeah.
We couldn't even go past. Our tables were kind of next to other people's, and we just stood there.
Yeah.
You couldn't really dance or move. It was hard.
But to answer your question, as long as you're together, doesn't matter.
So basically you're saying I don't have to slow down my lifestyle for a dude.
If he can,
hang around.
Especially there's too much IRL connecting with you. There's too many red carpet events you have to go to.
Right.
He needs to be able to keep up. Now, they end at 2. They don't end at 6.
Right.
So you should be able to handle it. But yeah, there's too much opportunity. And my girl understands that. We met at a bikini competition and I also host bikini competitions. So she's going to be next to me when I host more bikini competitions.
Right.
Instead of staying at home wondering what Michael's doing. No, we are a unit, right?
Interesting.
We're Stockton and Malone. We're teammates. So, that's essentially, I think that's the best end, or at least that's the thing that I've seen work the best. If I have proclivities that are a little outside the norm, as long as she accepts those proclivities and does them with me, then it's fine.
And then how long do you think it's appropriate to me to finally introduce this guy into my world? Because sometimes I
don't think you have to.
Careful.
I don't think you ever have to, especially because the way you do work as an influencer, I think it's fine. But what will be problematic, however, is if he's introducing you in his world on his social media and you're not doing the same, you make him look a bit like a cuck in that place.
No, yeah, it would have to be equal for sure.
Yeah, for sure, it would have to be equal.
Yeah,
I do have the exception where it comes to, because I got a lot of criticism for this because it was out of context. If a girl's a model and literally makes her income from modeling, I don't think she should post her boyfriend. And I know a lot of guys who are into traditional values no, she should. I'm no, if she's making enough money, I totally get it. Now, if she's an accountant, an associate at a law firm or whatever, she should be showing her man. But in other cases, or what I think would be the best representation was she should show her man on IG story and Facebook, but on her grid, maybe not. For her modeling photos.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It would be very weird for me to see Lindsay Palis, Abigail Ratchford, or Emily Sears showing her man on her grid. Now, on her story, yes. And on Facebook, yes, but not necessarily on her grid. Her grid is an advertisement. It's a billboard. She's a working model. She's going to have to show that off. I'm a little different because I know a lot of red pill guys are all Instagram models are hoes and all this kind of stuff. And I'm no, it's a career field. Somebody has to be a model. So I don't really have that big of an issue. But it's It's interesting you asked the question. I just think as long as we're on the same page and as long as we have the same proclivities, like for instance, one proclivity might be she likes girls and he likes girls and they can like girls together. That's a proclivity as long as you're on the same page and it's fine. Where it's bad is when she likes girls away from him and he likes girls away from her. Now you're not a team anymore. And now that's where the problems creep in.
Wow. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. I mean, even in my long-term relationship, like he didn't even like the camera anyway. So he didn't even want to be on my Instagram. And I didn't show him until like year 5. Yeah. Which was insane. I would do it like, maybe I would wait like 6 months now before I showed, my man to make sure he's not like clout chasing also, which sometimes happens.
Allie Harding. Follow her. You just look her up on TikTok. She's a TikToker. She's been on my show. She had this exact issue. She's had it twice where she showed a dude and she made her relationship part of her TikTok and then went through a horrific breakup and her audience then attacked the shit out of this guy.
Yeah. So even before I went on the show, I literally hired someone to find all pictures and post about my ex to protect him. And like, obviously all like the stuff I might have said when I was like 12, that could be like cancel culture. But yeah, I definitely didn't want that to happen. And that's what I'm worried about. Like being a couple on TikTok or Instagram can really significantly help you grow. But then if it doesn't work out, it's like, what's left? Yeah,
it's bad. I mean, you see some people just take massive L's. Everything from, I fucked your bitch in some Gucci flip-flops, that thing that Bilzerian did with the guy who runs bodybuilder.com, to the thing with Jason Derulo's wife. Clearly, they had an understanding that he was going to have sex with other women.
Right.
And then she's like, I can't deal with this anymore. And people are like, you knew this was going to happen. And now you're going to take this man away from his kids when you were fully aware that he was going to do this. Whereas other women were like, no, he shouldn't be having sex with other women. And then the men are like,
but she gave him permission to do this?
But he's Jason Derulo. Okay. Did she give permission? Do I know for a fact that she gave permission? I do not. What I do know is he's Jason fucking Derulo. This is ridiculous. It's almost like saying, did Holly Madison give Hugh Hefner permission to sleep with other women while they were dating? Do I know for a fact they had that conversation? I have not read the book. If she didn't understand that, then she is a naive individual. Okay, it's like dating Tyga and being like, he's gonna be mine. He's gonna be monogamous with me. Hey, for any girls who live in LA, you already know because you've already had Tyga sneak into your DMs to come be in a rap video. That's essentially what happens.
Yeah.
And he's not gonna. It's fine as long as everyone's telling the truth. Who cares? Like it's not that big of a deal. Some dudes are players, and some dudes are open to the concept of monogamy or polygyny or something to that effect. But it's the lying that goes crazy. If you're dating Jason Derulo, like you don't realize he's going to hook up with other women, which I'm positive she knew, and I think they were open about it. It's just one of these situations where it's like, okay, now you've gotten a situation where you have his kids, and now you're going to take his kids away from him because you can't handle the thing that you agreed to previously. So who knows?
And this is like where I'm confused because like I don't know where to date like on the 1 to 10 scale. All right, so I would say like my exes in the past were all safe, right? They were like 7.5s. Kind of had a job. They would do like anything for me.
Do you feel your family has anything to do with this? Did your family want you to do things that were safe? Is your family?
Yeah, I guess like career wise. Yeah, like they wanted me to do finance. Yeah. My dad was an investment banker.
Were your parents first or second generation? First generation.
First generation. Yeah.
There's a book called The Millionaire Next Door, and it talks about first generation immigrants. What'll happen is the first generation will be business owners, and the second generation, they'll want their children to be lawyers, doctors. They'll want them to have a vocation so that they have a very stable career. It's very common. People who emigrate from China, Iran, Vietnam, places like that.
Yeah.
You'll see that type of behavior. Just a tendency.
Yeah, because they had to work like really hard to get here, and they like were on survival mode, right? So they needed something stable. They needed to make something for themselves. Yeah.
There was a point where 60% of the nail salons in California, after the emigration from Saigon, after the end of Vietnam, 60% of the nail salons in the state of California were owned by Vietnamese people.
Yeah.
And so you have a Vietnamese nail salon owner who had made enough money to put their kids through college, so their kids would not be nail salon owners, their kids would be lawyers.
Correct.
Essentially, that's the way.
And like get a higher education.
That's correct. Yes, right. but not be entrepreneurs either, and take all that risk to have a vocation. Where it's like, I want you to be a doctor. And so the trope of the Indian parents who want their children to become a doctor is where that kind of comes from.
But it kind of seems ridiculous because my dad was an entrepreneur, and he's like, don't be one, and he's like, do.
So that's what his example was. Yeah, because he understands all the risk he had to take.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, you shouldn't do that. Like, you should do my life. and try to be as stable as possible so you can provide for your future kids. And I'm like, well, you gave me a stable life, so why can't I pursue something that I want to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
he wants you to have a vocation because it's easier.
Exactly.
Or it's less risky. Yeah.
Right. But then he kind of like thinks I'm spoiled because I can do that. And I'm like, but you set up my life to be better, so let me try to better my life too.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes I did feel like I was stuck and safe. So maybe I did tend to date like safe dudes. But at that time, it was like all I knew. Like it was, I was like, oh, like this boy is really in love with me. He's like a simp, lack of a better term. He would do literally anything for
No, that's
me.
a perfect term, actually.
Yeah. So I like fell for these guys. Little did I know that they have so many psychological issues they needed to work through. And then now I'm on the dating field again. I didn't really know my worth, right? Because it was like pretty low back then. And I grew up in like a neighborhood where actually like Asian women were not.
You grew up in
pretty.
North Jersey. You could see the city from where you lived?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I grew up in the suburbs. You can't see it, but then like I moved to a
Like
place
near
where
Teterboro? Like where'd you live?
do you know
Newark?
Allendale.
No.
It's in Bergen County.
Okay.
It's like the wealthiest wealthiest
So
county.
you live next to the
in New
Sopranos.
Jersey. Yes.
You live next to the Sopranos.
Yeah, exactly. Like that area. So
Yeah.
very, very wealthy, Caucasian neighborhood. I was like maybe one of like 3 Asian people. So I got like a lot of microaggressions and like I was like, okay, I'm not blonde or brunette. Like I'm not pretty. Like no one wanted me except for the Asian guys, right? So I was like just going through life, like feeling really ugly. Then I went through college, right? And then I've been through like a bunch of other like small relationships there. And then I started to realize, I was like, oh shit, I'm kind of pretty. Like that's literally how I realized it.
That's
like,
not what happened
so
to me.
much
I was
later
like,
in
oh
life.
shit, I'm kind of pretty. That is not what happened to me at all.
Wait, what happened
I was
to
like,
you? What do you
dude,
mean?
I was the same height I am now with the same head I have now, 50 pounds lighter. Just imagine what I was like.
50 pounds lighter, so you were skinny?
I was scrawny with acne and like this weird freaking hair and nearsighted as shit, and I was so awkward. I was
cute,
I
though.
was really strong and I had really good balance because I played on the offensive line, but like I was so awkward. I couldn't walk, and I had a spinal deformity, so I would walk with my feet out like a duck. You know how some people who are like super unathletic, their knees are locked in and they walk like it. So they called me Ducky. That's what was my
I kind of have duck feet too.
Yeah,
Like they like kind of naturally go like this.
It was something you have. I recommend people get on the squat rack and turn your toes in pigeon toed, and then do squats like that to like reform the shape of the muscles, and then start getting into athletic endeavors that cause you to use your hips and knees for explosion. Because what happens is unathletic people, what they'll do is they'll lock their knees out and they'll use their calf muscles for stability side to side. They'll point their toes out. You point your toes forward. That's where athletic movement is. That's how you sprint.
Correct.
And so now I'm activating quads and glutes instead of just trying to use my calf muscles for stability.
Wow, that
sense?
probably explains why I got like really bad knee problems too, because I never tried to fix and like get those stabilizer muscles.
Yeah, I would do that. That's what I would do. I would do lots of extensions, and then also like the Bulgarian hack squats and the Romanian deadlifts. I forgot what they're called. Those are the things I would do.
Cool.
To isolate those things. I just had 2 hours with my guys today explaining to them, some of you look like you walk like a duck, and you look like the first guy I would absolutely, if I was a mugger, I would mug you. You don't look like you can run. You look like you have no athleticism whatsoever, and you look like you're going to be someone's girlfriend if you go to fucking prison. Yes, I'm a performance coach. This is what I tell these guys.
Wow.
Like, you need to look like there is some boundary
Don't
around
they teach
you.
us in the military too to walk straight?
Yeah,
Someone
you have
told
to.
me this.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, yeah, for sure. They teach you that.
Interesting.
And that's part of the reason why. Like, there's a really great study. Joe Rogan talks about it, where they take people who have been convicted of muggings before, and they show them the images of people walking, and they ask them why would you mug this person versus this person, and they see some guy and he's like prior military, ball fade, and the guy walks with his toes painted, like his feet facing forward, and they're parallel to one another, and he walks with a sense of purpose, and he can clearly see his environment. They're like, there's no fucking way I would mug that guy. That guy looks like you would go grab him and the elbow comes right up to the face, like immediately, quick action. That's what that guy looks like. And then they would see some guy with he's got a torso shaped like a marshmallow, and his knees are locked out, and he's walking like he's duck walking, and he's going side by side. It's like, for sure, I'm going to mug that guy. Take his wallet. He's not going to catch me. Punch the guy. He's going to fall down. He doesn't have any balance or any lower body strength or upper body muscle. Clearly, that's the guy I would go after. Men do not realize that they're constantly being judged on that. By men and women. There's one survey, it's in Rich Cooper's book, where they refer, I think it's a UK survey, I believe, 71% of attractiveness that women find towards men is upper body muscle.
You know what's so funny that you say that? Because there was actually a guy that I was like online dating for 8 months, which is kind of common in my sphere.
Sure.
And for Twitch especially. And when I met him in person, he had like the worst posture I had ever seen. Immediately unattracted.
Yeah.
And I was like, this isn't going to work out.
Of course. Like
And I literally left and I was like, why is that? I was like, am I shallow?
Let's go way down this path, right? There's The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins right here, and behind me
Yes.
is Evolutionary Psychology textbook by Dr. David Buss.
Definitely heard that one before.
Right. So the concept, just consider the concept. You and I, one thing we know about our ancestors, there's one thing we know about them. What do we know? Every single one of our ancestors. A consecutive line of successfully having sex. We know that
Obviously, yes.
unequivocally.
Yes.
We know that all of our ancestors, no matter how far we got, it is a broken chain of reproductive success. We don't know fucking anything else about them, but we know that one thing.
Yeah.
So what we need to look at is throughout those things, the things that aided in survival and replication, those things would be passed on, and the things that didn't would not be passed on. Let's use extreme examples. Let's say you had a potential ancestor who had no fear of heights. Then they jump off a cliff, and then they're not your ancestor anymore because their genetics are weeded out of existence. You have another ancestor who has no fear of snakes or tigers or drowning or fear of fire or fear of, whatever, just some other disaster, some other thing that could kill them, and they end up dying because of their excessive amounts of risk-taking. Does that make sense?
Right.
Or their lack of, it's not even risk-taking, they just walk up to a snake like it's a puppy. They would end up being dead, right?
Which is good because you don't want that.
Correct. Right. But they didn't know that at the time. They're living in the ancestral period.
Right.
So now you, at the same time, you're looking at this guy and you see bad posture. Your ancestors, the genetics that your ancestors have left behind for you in your brain, that's what evolutionary psychology is, means natural selection, is applied to your psychology. Those proclivities that you have are telling you this man cannot defend me when Genghis Khan shows up and tries to rape the village. This man has no ability to conduct violence on my behalf because he does not have any lower body coordination. You quickly see that as a woman. And also, most likely, you're subconsciously saying his lack of coordination and poor posture probably would equal bad sex as well. So those things that you think subconsciously cause you to quickly say, I'm not interested in this. Men will see women who have a lack of facial symmetry and be turned off by them. Why is that the lack of facial symmetry? Because it shows a lack of health, and I'm supposed to have children with this woman. And so these bad genetic, again, does it make our species shallow? Incredibly shallow. Incredibly shallow.
But there's like so much reasoning behind it. And
Correct.
It makes so much sense.
Correct. Yeah. But the reasoning why Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah Winfrey will give you is because they're bad people. There's not bad people. It's evolution.
Yeah.
It's evolution. That's the reason why.
Survival of the fittest.
No, it's actually that's a misnomer. So it's funny. Survival of the fittest was not in the first copy of the Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. It was later evolutionary biologists who came up with that term. But that's an incorrect term. It is survival of the fit enough to replicate. Survival of the fit enough to replicate. That's actually what the correct term is. You don't have to be the fittest. You have to be fit enough to have children. And then you can die right afterwards, and your genes still get passed along. Make sense?
Got it. Yeah.
So here's the thing. So there's a really interesting thing I've never done is you had to do a press junket when you did the reality show.
Yeah. Like in a room, and like I had a bunch of press people be interviewing me for like an hour.
What was that like?
It was really exhausting because I kept answering the same damn questions.
You hadn't seen the show.
Correct. Yes, that's right. I remember now.
I always wish that I could do a press junket.
I just realized this was.
Yeah.
So yeah, after the show, but everyone in press got to watch it.
Yeah.
Right. So everyone who's interviewing me got to watch it. But yeah, it was funny because I didn't know the edit yet between me and the tall girl.
Yeah.
So I thought we were fine because
you didn't know that they were going to include the fact that you were drunk and talking shit to her.
So I knew they were going to include that, but they didn't include when we made up and like forgave each other and all that stuff. So I was literally just sitting next to her on the couch and like hugging her, and we were like taking selfies, and she's like, oh my God, like we should take this selfie like for press or whatever. So we were just like acting like friends the whole time. And I look at these interviews and I'm like, wow, I had no idea that I actually like wound up hating this girl on national television, and that was the narrative, you know what I mean? So that was like really
wasn't
crazy.
It later that she wrote that you guys are like best friends or something like that?
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. She literally posted the selfie that I was like, yeah, let's take a picture. She did not tell me before. that she was gonna post this, and she basically said that we were besties.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, "Wait, what?" And then they would like DM me and send me the picture. They're like, "Wait, are you and Alyssa actually friends?" And I'm like, no, but like, no hard feelings, I guess. But yeah, I felt like there was definitely a motive on her end to stir some shit up over there for sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but we did have dinner like once with her and Adam Drexler, and it was fine.
So what happened with you? So they're still seeing each other.
Yeah.
So she ran off with Adam Drexler, but had a baby with someone else.
Oh, sorry, no, that's the other girl, Ashley.
Okay.
Yeah, Ashley is like the white girl from Ohio, who left the show early.
Oh, because she found her dude, and then had a baby with someone else.
That's Well, that's what they want you to think. Yeah.
That's so great. Everything about that just makes me happy.
And then as soon as she flew home within a month, she got pregnant right after the show. And she literally attended our red carpet premiere pregnant. She was like 7 months pregnant.
Was she 7 months pregnant, still hanging out with the dude that she had picked? Was he there also?
No. So none of the arrivals actually went to the red carpet.
It was just the 6 main characters.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it. So growing up in North Jersey, you mentioned before you used to go hang out. Like one thing I do, I've only been to New York 3 times. And one thing I do really like the bustle of Lower Manhattan. And what I'm curious of is what caused you to move to the West Coast? Were you Twitch streaming beforehand, or did you move and then start to? So Twitch streaming, and you just saw there was more opportunity in Los Angeles, and that's why you moved there?
Well, I wanted to live in like LA since I was like 18.
Got it.
Yeah, so it was like a really big dream of mine, and not just because of the entertainment field, it's mostly because of the weather. And I felt like I could identify with people's like personalities better on the West Coast too. But I'm like really happy that I was able to establish my career first in New York.
Yeah.
Before LA, because I didn't want to be caught up in the clout chasing and like the fame and all that. So I just made sure it was like stable before I left. And then my best friend from New York, who was also like an ex-influencer, moved to LA, bought a house, got married with her husband. And I was like, well, now I have to go. And I have a strong, like, real network of friends here versus like new ones that I'd have to make. And then I knew the show was going to air. So I was like, I might as well just be here.
Oh, wait. So you were living in New York when you filmed the show and then moved out?
Correct.
Crazy. Okay, now I'm sorry. I get that timeline right. Did you get what neighborhood did you move into initially?
In LA?
Yeah.
In K-Town.
Okay. Did you end up in a place where you're paying a whole bunch of money for like not the greatest place in the whole world?
Everyone's
got that story when they first moved to LA.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. The apartment sucks. The elevator's always broken.
Yep.
The toilet's always breaking. It doesn't even flush sometimes. The chain's broken.
Shout out to Donald Sterling. Donald Sterling, who owned all of those houses. Did you ever hear the story?
No. What
is
that?
The federal government brought a civil case against him. So one of the reasons why Koreatown is Koreatown is because Donald Sterling made all the African Americans move out of some of his buildings. He specifically chose Asian American people. So he would actually have landlords go through there and kick out, like literally evict a bunch of look this up if you don't believe what I'm saying. This guy is a slumlord, and he used the money. He actually loaned, a lot of people don't know this, he loaned money to Jerry Buss to buy the Lakers. But Jerry Buss buys the Lakers in 79. He buys the Clippers, the San Diego Clippers, in 84. Maybe I'm wrong about that. And then he essentially runs the Clippers into the ground for the next 30 years, making racist comments, the whole time. And then finally he gets kicked out because of the stuff he was saying about Magic Johnson. He's like, I don't understand why you like Magic Johnson. He has AIDS. I'm like, what?
God.
And you just see like he's this delusional old man who like has no grasp of reality because he's a billionaire.
Right.
But Donald Sterling was one of the reasons why there was so many like slummy buildings in Koreatown in the first place. On Wilshire? You knew there?
It's closer by like Alexandria, like north of K-Town. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, but my best friend approved it ahead of time because it has a lot of space.
She approved it because for LA, you're living like a king. Like what I'm telling you is like for $3K, you'd have probably have a decent spot at Waldorf Astoria in Vegas for $3K a month.
No, you can't.
For
really?
Sure. Yeah, dude, I pay less than that, and I have a high rise overlooking the strip.
Oh my God, it's so unfair.
Like I'm gonna the F1 races that are coming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be able to watch it from my balcony, and I don't pay anywhere near $3K for my place, and I have a 2-bedroom. Yes. Vegas is way better. All of our buildings are new and crisp, and there's no like foundation problems. And the air conditioner works, and all the cell towers work, and the internet works. That's why I'm telling you. Know how much it costs to park at my towers? This much, zero.
Yeah.
There's plenty of parking, money parking. I've had people come to my unit, leave their car at my place, go on an airplane, leave. 6 months later, come back and get their car out of LA, charge zero.
Wow.
This is Vegas. It's just a different world. Like in LA, people are like, what are you talking about? My friends in LA, they're like so used to being beaten down by shitty old apartments that were built in the 1940s that they don't recognize that they're shitty. It's almost like Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what ends up happening. So your friend probably thought it was a good place. And probably, but not compared to North Jersey.
Right. Yeah. Like where I lived in Jersey, I was like living in a luxury high-rise condo that I owned.
And probably paid less for rent if you were renting it.
Way less, like $1,000 less. And then like 2 pools, an indoor and an outdoor pool, steam room, sauna, like all of this, 15-minute bus ride to Manhattan. Like it was, and I had the skyline view. I was on like the 42nd floor too. And then in LA, I moved to, I guess like a larger space. It's a 2-bedroom, but it's like 3,000, and there's no security, there's no cameras, and like literally my elevator's broken. My mail gets stolen all the time, so I have to pay for a UPS box.
But you know what? They got some good Korean barbecue down the street.
That is what I love about K-Town.
Hey, you know what? The Korean barbecue there is awesome, except for one place.
Which one?
Here. The Korean barbecue here is the best I've ever had in my entire life. The best Asian food I've ever had in my entire life is in Las Vegas, because we have all
I thought it was like better in like LA.
Yeah, I would think so too, except we have more visitors from Asia we have 44 million people come here every year.
Oh.
We have more visitors from Asia come to Vegas than you have come to Los Angeles.
Oh, so that makes sense. So they need Asian restaurants.
Yeah.
Obviously.
You have a lot of local people who are of Asian descent who eat at Asian cuisine restaurants in Los Angeles. We have people who come visit here, billionaires who are Chinese, who want to go get dim sum. And we have an entire neighborhood on Spring Mountain that is nothing but Asian restaurants.
That's crazy.
And there's so much. The Korean barbecue there is phenomenal.
Is it like only on the strip, or is it like the outskirts of
So
Vegas
strip goes north and south. So if you were to drive east on the Spring Mountain, Spring Mountain, or is it Twain that turns into Spring Mountain? I forget. But if you go west on Spring Mountain, you'll be in Chinatown.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like I actually moved to LA to like become more assimilated with my culture.
Yeah.
And like be more Asian.
We don't have as many Asian people. We just have phenomenal Asian restaurants here.
Oh, okay, okay. But yeah, that's what I needed to do for myself in LA, because I just like didn't know what Asian life was like.
24-hour boba tea. Oh my God.
Where? Oh, that's a thing.
Tea station out on Spring Mountain.
Yeah. You like boba?
Yeah, bro. So good.
Most people
that shit'll get you fat
that are not Asian like do not like
out
boba.
There have boba. I'll go out to Crum Siam, or for Thai food, I'll go to Pho Kim Long for the pho. I'll go to
this is hilarious.
What's the name of the big Gangnam? I'll go there for Korean barbecue. Yeah.
They have one of those in LA too.
It probably is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you decided to move out. I didn't realize you moved out here after the show had aired, because you saw like more.
Not had aired, had finished filming. Okay. So I was like, I think I moved here in October of 2020, and I knew it was going to air sometime in the spring. So I moved before, and I also wanted to move during the pandemic still, so the rent prices were low.
That's true.
And move during the winter time as well, which most people don't move. So I tried to go during the lowest.
I try to always move in December. I love when it's cold to move.
Yes.
I hate moving in the heat. Hate it. With the U.S. military, we'd have to move in August. And August in Georgia, you can
God, it's so hot.
You can miss me with that shit.
Yeah, and it's the most expensive, so there's no point of doing it.
Yeah.
And then Twitch streaming. I was still Twitch streaming, so I got like a second bedroom for my streaming room and my gaming room, so it's all set up really cool.
Got the same thing. You write off everything. I write off meals,
everything.
write off everything because you work from home. Yeah.
Exactly. Like my business credit card is literally everything that I pay for.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can't expense.
Yeah.
Really. So yeah, I did that, and then Twitch streaming, moved to LA. I thought it'd be good for me as a content creator too, because like everyone is an influencer. That's like pretty much it.
Okay, so a couple of things I was interested in. So you start off with Animal Farm. It's pretty PG.
Animal Crossing.
Sorry, it's pretty PG. I've never played it.
Yeah.
I had a couple of weeks ago I had Bunny Fufu on here as a world-class League of Legends player, and he talked about having to deal with that when he started making OnlyFans content. Now he plays video games with naked women on his, not OnlyFans, but on his website. But he said, it's called Bun Censored. he said that his audience was like they felt betrayed. A bunch of his audience members felt betrayed because like, why are you with these hoes and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Because his audience was younger. But the thing is, his audience grew up with him, and now they're in their 20s, and now they're watching his new content where he's basically playing hacky sack with naked women. Right?
Oh my God, I love that.
Everyone has to take off. If you lose a round playing tic-tac-toe or you're playing Mario Kart, you have to take an item of clothing off. Sounds like a genius business model to me. So now your situation, you switch. It was really interesting to me. You switch because every game has a
type of audience.
Has an audience.
Yes.
And that audience has a culture. I'll tell you the early Madden culture, like in the early 2000s, there were a lot of trappers that I would play. I'm talking about drug dealers that would stay in a trap house and they would play Madden all day. And I know because I used to hang out with them.
Wow.
A lot of former trappers became Madden players. Look it up. Don't think I'm fucking around kidding with this. A lot of like that culture, that is a heavy culture in the Madden community. Inner cities, dudes who are drug dealers, stuck in a house all day, playing Madden online. That is very much a Madden culture.
Interesting.
Right?
I had no idea.
Not so much now because of Madden Ultimate Team, but back in the day, it was like that. When you deal with what was it called? You switch over to Fortnite. And now you have a little bit more male-dominated crowd. They're ethnically diverse. Mm-hmm. And you said you start getting haters. You start getting people saying crazy stuff to you because one of the things is there's a bit of like an anti-woman thing on Twitch because a lot of guys on Twitch are like, I just want to see people play video games. And if a girl comes out there and she looks like a waifu or has like cleavage or whatever, they immediately go after her. So can you talk about that? Like what happened? Did you see a transition when you moved over to Fortnite?
So I was actually transitioning like myself anyway to become more oriented
or adult conversations.
Yes, adult conversations. And I was like running a stream team at the time, and it was mostly an Animal Crossing, like it's like an esports team, right? And it was like 33 streamers I was mentoring at that time. And I got like 11 of them to partner, and which is great. But then as I started switching games, I started also doing like just chatting streams. And I was like,
was Twitch always down with that? Just chatting stream? I guess they were. I've seen like.
What do you mean down?
I've seen. I thought Twitch because there are people who get knocked off Twitch for doing anything wrong, and I always thought that Twitch was like if they see cleavage, if there's anything like that's overtly sexual, or like there had to be a video game involved. But I guess not because I have friends of mine who have a radio station, and then their radio segments go on Twitch now. I think that's what
a lot of people do like Twitch streaming with like podcasts and radios and stuff. But yeah, no, cleavage is fine. You just can't show areola. Yeah, for sure. Right, and all of that or any type of nudity. And I was kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna do just chatting streams. I started doing like dating streams, and those were so controversial. I got so much hate for it from my audience because I would literally like start going on dating shows like in Twitch because I wanted to prepare my audience and gain a new audience before my show came out.
What's a dating show like on Twitch?
Pretty toxic, I'm not gonna lie. So basically, they would have me, who is like the female candidate. Like every guy comes to date me. They like advertise it for a week in advance. And then they have all these guys in literally e-dates. And they all go on a date with me. And everyone sees the audience about them like talking to each other. And then like towards the end, there's like a moderator who's asking questions. It can get really raunchy, the questions. So, when I started talking about like sex and everything, my audience was like, what the fuck is going on? Like my kids can't watch her anymore. And then I was like, well, I'm gonna look hot on the date, so I'm gonna wear my cleavage. I'm gonna wear stuff that shows my cleavage. And I was like, damn, I look good and the views are growing up, so I'm just gonna keep doing this. And then I eventually started doing like dating shows on my stream as well. And that's when I started getting a lot of hate from my female audience because it was mostly female before. And Animal Crossing had died down anyway because there was like no more updates. So yeah, I kept going in there to that route. I received a lot of sexist comments, racist comments. Sometimes they're combined, and a lot of the women would send a lot of hate messages like while I was streaming, like who the hell do you think you are? Why do you need to show your boobs in order to get attention? Like attention whore, the C word that I'm not gonna say, and like all of this stuff. And I was just like, you know what? Like, fuck it. Like, I'm a woman. Like, this is my body. I get to do what I want. If I want to look good, I'm going to look good. Like, this is the way I dress in real life. I was like, why can't I dress this way also when I'm streaming?
Sure.
So I was like, whatever.
But you do understand, and just to play devil's advocate,
Yeah.
like, going back to the dating thing, if you do that, that does make it difficult for some men to either feel like they can keep up with you or take you seriously.
Right.
You still have the right to do it. What I'm saying is, you understand, like, there's, like I said with my friend CJ. You remember one of my best friends, CJ's here. She's 38. She's like, I don't have any kids, and I want a man who makes $5 million a year. And I was like, CJ, I care about you a lot, but that's going to be a tough one.
Yes.
Which that's what you want. So as long as she knows, then it's fine. So as long as you know.
Well, I was in like my phase of like just getting out of my relationship, and
Sure.
I didn't really give a shit, right?
For sure.
So I just like did that, and it was really fun. And then I would like collaborate with other Twitch streamers and do the same thing. Some people found it entertaining. Most of them did not, my audience. So I had to start over from scratch. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to stop this because now I'm just getting so much hate. I have to reevaluate if this is the image that I want to go. So I stopped doing that. And then on my Instagram, like maybe only 1 in every 10 photos is like a lingerie photo. And it's usually sponsored. So I can justify it like that, like when I'm on my dates. So I also stopped talking about dating on TikTok because I've literally had men go on my TikTok and be like, this is toxic. Like, how could you talk about men like this or like that? And it really wasn't toxic. It was like from like a female empowerment standpoint, but it could rub guys the wrong way. And I just want to increase the size of my dating pool, not narrow it so much.
Sure.
So yeah, I stopped talking about like dating in general on my social media platforms. But I'm like free to talk about it on like any other platforms.
Nice.
And I feel like the right confident guy really wouldn't care.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing you mentioned before was you had an incident on an airplane.
Yeah.
Could you give the background for that whole thing? Because I didn't quite understand. I heard you talk about it twice, but something happened. This happened to do with your mother also being sick?
So let me see. My mom got diagnosed with like lung cancer when I was, how old was I? Around 25. It was right when I also got my herniated disc, which actually those are kind of correlated, but that's another topic. And we didn't know how like much time she had left, but she went on like experimental drugs, so her life was like prolonged. And I had just gotten my first like 6-figure job, and it was like in consulting and software sales at a data analytics company. So I was basically on my way home from Ohio to back home, and I just like visited one of my clients. Literally less than an hour into the plane ride, I get up and I try to ask for water from like, where the attendees are.
Yeah.
And like, as soon as I'm like, can I have water? I literally black out. I become unconscious. I hit my head at the back of like the armrest on the airplane, which we know is pretty hard, the back of my cranium. And I'm literally like on the floor. And I like wake up and I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? And like I'm seeing stars and everything. And they eventually like get me up to my seat. They like announce that like they're emergently landing the plane. And then I stay overnight in like a hospital in Ohio. And it was at this point where I was working like already 60 something hours for this company. And I was also doing my content creation as well, like about 60 hours a week as well. I don't even know how many hours are in a week, but it felt like I was just always working and not sleeping. So yeah, I just like in that moment, I knew my mom was sick, and I was obviously overworking myself because I fainted on a plane. Even though I had drank enough water, ate enough food, I was just like overworked. And I decided to, like my life is short. I was 25, I'm young. I was in a relationship, but I wasn't married. I didn't have kids. And I was like, now is the time to pursue something and give it my all and take the risk. And that's when I decided to do content creation full time. And I wanted to spend more time with my mom too.
So you think that this is what you considered to be a changing point because of maybe hitting rock bottom, some level of suffering or some survival scenario that you felt, something that caused an epiphany?
Yeah, I like literally hit my head and I was like, I'm overworking myself. So if I overwork myself
what was the
anymore,
what was the career field?
It was software sales
in
corporate retail. So like really big conglomerates, like in the fashion industry. So like Ascena Brands, which owns like Dress Barn, Justice, Lane Bryant, like all of those. And I'd basically implement the software and teach like the C-suite and the financial planners of the company how to work this forecasting software and then also like develop a new one on the side as well. Yeah. So I was like, if I hit my head one more time and become unconscious, which job would I do it for?
Yeah, got it.
So then I was like, I'm gonna do it for content creation because I would die for that, but I would not die for this 6-figure job working for someone else.
The transition from one, was it part-time twitching and the other job, or did you just switch from one to the other in one day?
Are you talking about like the full-time job?
Yeah, from the 6-figure job to doing Twitch.
From the
You're not making 6 figures at Twitch from day one.
No, Twitch I just started during the pandemic. I got really successful in a very short time. But I was like doing Instagram, blogging, and YouTube at that time. We were called bloggers back then. So I gave them a month notice, which was really nice of me. And they wanted to do part-time with me because they saw that I was, very valuable. But I was like, you know what? Like, what's the point? I was like, I'm going to go all in. So I quit completely. And I did it full time, lived off of my savings for a year. Like I saved up enough savings for a year and I just went full force. And before you know it, like my first salary was matching my first year's salary of my first job. And then like the year after, it doubled. The third year after, it just kept increasing. So I was like, I made the right move. Yeah.
From the Twitch stuff.
Oh, and then I also did Twitch like during the pandemic. So that was like another income stream.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I still don't even know enough about how people make money on Twitch. I know that you have subs and all this kind of stuff, but I really don't understand it that well.
Yeah, so it's a subscription like based model.
Yeah.
But you can also donate in terms of like bits is what they call it, is their currency. And also donations to like your PayPal like link as well too. So you can give cash donations, bits, which they incentivize people by like once you give them bits or subscribe, like music plays and like the subscription like words are on the screen, some music, whatever. And then it's up to the streamer themselves to like incentivize it as well. So like a subathon.
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah. You go all night.
Well, it could be a 12-hour subathon, for example, right? And let's say like once you reach 10 subs for that stream, 10 times 5, that's like $50. Yeah, $50 for that stream. Maybe I'll like do 15 push-ups, for example.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And if I do 25 subs, I'm going to go sing a song that they would request. I would also do sub-only games, for example. So all my subscribers in my chat, they get to cut the line in the queue to play with me first.
Got it.
Yeah. Some streamers do like sub-only streams, so they incentivize as well that way. And I also did, for every sub, you get a special channel in my Discord. That's like special access to
we switched over.
channel.
We did this for Discord. We have School now. We use School instead of School is like Discord. It's a different creator, but it gamifies it. So basically, you go up in rank the more people like and comment on your posts. So it incentivizes people to engage. It's just crazy engagement on there. Also,
exactly.
You know what Kajabi is? If you sell a course, you do it on Kajabi. School is Kajabi combined with Discord in one platform. That's why we use that.
So you can like sell your courses like in there as well?
Yeah, and you have to have certain acts. So I have a paid school and I have a free school. The free school is so when this episode comes out, it'll be on the school calendar. It'll tell them to just click the link and it'll pop them up here.
Interesting. I've never heard of that before.
SKOOL. Yeah, it's a bunch of like big sales guys that came together and created their own platform.
Oh.
Yeah, for your whole community in there. It's not necessarily for streaming, but for me, it's for my coaching program.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why like every single time, like if you have someone giving you money, you have to reward them with something and like a prolonged offer. So for them to keep repeating to do that.
Yeah.
So that's like what I figured out on Twitch. I just combined like what I learned in my content creation and being successful on like Instagram and stuff and just applied it to business. And then I was able to make like Twitch work.
Yeah. If you get to, I think, level 3 or 4 in my free school server, you get a free course. My free course that I teach. It's like a couple hours long and there's tons of videos in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a really great value. Mine is like if you reach like level 4 and boosting this Discord server, you get like access to like 10 more emotes. Or like emojis.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
My favorite guy on Twitch is G Maya, G Maya's World. He's a Madden guy, and he says flood the globes, and so his logo is a globe, G Maya's World, and he says flood the globes, and like you see them all, and I don't even understand what the fuck's going on because I'm watching on YouTube after the fact.
Yeah.
So I don't even understand what's happening, but yeah, it's a really interesting business model.
It is, yeah. And then like you can get them to like vote on it. So I remember like even for the emotes. Like I had an artist like design like 3, for example.
Yeah.
I would hide them on the screen and they'd get so excited. And I'm like, the audience gets to vote if you are a subscriber on the next emote that I unravel. So it's like thinking of all these like really smart tactics to incentivize. Yeah.
Are you close to your family? Your mom, like I know your mom passed away, but do you still talk to them a lot?
Yeah. I mean, I was just in New York like 2 weeks ago, but I would say I got closer to my family like as she was sick.
Mm-hmm.
And more so after she passed. Because it's like, talk about trauma bonding to the max, right? I think before, like, my dad and my relationship was not very good. Like, he would always yell at me. I knew, like, he wanted what was best for me now. As an adult, I understand that. But, like, you know, there was not really, like, any affection, any hugging, any loving. It was kind of like he would show up at my swim practice and piano, and he's like, just be the best.
Sure.
You know? So I kind of like hated him for it because I was like, why do you push me so hard? I just want a dad who listens to my problems, you know, and like holds my hand. And like when I'm going through school and like, how do I talk to boys? Like, how do I do this, do that? And I was never taught all of that stuff when I was younger that a lot of parents do now in like more modern or American society too. But yeah, as my mom was like sick, it really like brought us closer together. And I was the first one to say like, I love you in the family, and the first one to hug. But yeah, now we're really close and we're like doing real estate all together now. So
that's great.
Yeah. Airbnb, real estate, like all of that. Yeah. So we work together in like a business sense. So we're a lot closer now. And I was able to make my dad see like therapy after he was like so depressed, obviously after my mom passed.
Yeah.
And when I came, I already had moved to LA because I needed like a break from what reminded me of her and my long-term relationship. I came back and realized there was like this feminine energy like missing in the household. It was just like my dad and my brother living together. And like, I remember like my mom's chair, she was always like the queen of the dinner table. So when I'd visit, I'm like, am I allowed to sit there? Like, I don't know. They're like, yes, sit there. I sat there and I like literally, I just felt empowered to the point where like I had a purpose in the family, and it was for them to be in touch with their emotions and talk about it and do something proactive about it. And when I like just told my dad, I was like, you are depressed, in like a nice way, obviously. And when I showed him how much I cared and how much I empathized, he was like, I think you're right. I have to go seek help. And this is like the guy who never believed in mental health, like in it being an issue ever. You know, he was so stoic. He has no emotions, never cries, you know. But for the first time in my life, I saw him have emotion after my mom passed, you know. And because of that, he was just like so overwhelmed. He wasn't sleeping. He lost so much weight. He looked like 15 years older. It was so scary to see. But yeah, I was able to finally like convince him to see therapy. And now he respects me in a way that I've never seen him respect me before, because I was able to see him and like make him grow and understand that about himself.
Beautiful. Yeah. Incredible, man. All right. Awesome. So all the dudes that are, because I'm trying to find you a good dude. I'm trying to be your matchmaker.
Are you really?
So all the guys out there.
Yes.
All the guys that are trying to get, we have a bunch of single engineers here at Sticky Paws. Shout out to them. All right, let
me tell you my criteria.
Let's go for the criteria.
Wait, really?
Yeah, go.
Okay, it's really not that bad.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. I prefer 5'10" and above.
Okay.
5'9" is okay if you're fit and handsome. Okay. And then I would prefer if you made 100K or above, but like, I guess it's fine if you're like 80K. But if you live in LA, you know, we're going to have to work something out here. Yeah. You know, you have to have some sort of job or like career. Even if you started it yourself, it has to be somewhat successful.
Okay.
And that just meaning the 80 to 100K type of thing.
But like probable upward growth.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I'll believe in like a starving artist. I might not date one, but you know what I mean?
He can be starving, but he has to be 6'3".
5'10's fine. Well, yeah, actually.
The truth.
The guys that I've dated that are 6'3" and very good looking are all broke.
Of course.
Why is that?
So here's the reason why. Like if you work on one thing, you don't have to work on another. So it's almost like the guy who goes to Alabama. He's a 5-star recruit to play football,
Yeah.
and he doesn't go to class because he's just so like his world. It's the super pretty girl who's never taken any accountability for anything she's done in her life.
Yeah.
And so she's never really had to work, change a flat tire, do any of these kind of things. She just I have some female friends, their cars are just destroyed. Like they don't, missing hubcaps and shit is falling apart, and they don't ever change the oil because they're hot girls. They don't ever. So sometimes you don't have a well-rounded, like for me, one of the things I do appreciate is I grew up in a middle-class house, but I went to high school in a very, very poor neighborhood. So I got to see how the other half lived. And then I went to college to a state school where I almost failed out of. And then I started to study as hard as I could to try to get back in there.
Yeah.
And as soon, like before I graduated from college, I already had a job. And then I used that, the job to get another job. Then I joined the military, paid off all my, student debts. And then so I handled a lot of these things so that if in someday I am a billionaire, I do remember what it was like to be poor.
Exactly.
And so what that does is it causes me to work on my intellect. So I read as much as I can. It causes me to work on my personality, causes me to work on my physique, causes me to work on my health, all these different things that I had to work on, these attributes, because I'm not devastatingly good looking or devastatingly tall or devastatingly athletic or come from a super wealthy family. I had to work on these things. A lot of times what I'll meet is here, especially here in Vegas, is the 6'3" guy who's a bartender who like has never had any trouble with women whatsoever, like effortlessly is like pulling threesomes. The guy's just having no trouble at all.
Yeah.
And so because he doesn't have any motivation to get better in that area of his life, he's sleeping on a couch.
Interesting.
Because
he already has the prize.
Correct.
Sure, the women.
A lot of guys that I know that are VIP hosts or male strippers, they have that problem where they're just always broke. And what they're doing is I see a lot of them jumping from one NFT grift to the next Forex scam to whatever. And they're like, oh, I'm going to be rich next year. Or they're, like I said, the music producer or OnlyFans management team or whatever. And I see this all the time. And because they didn't work on that one part, then they got bad at the other one. And then you see the opposite. I have a lot of clients in Men of Action that are fighter pilots or doctors or lawyers or whatever.
Yeah.
And the financial part, they got completely set. But the social part, they didn't.
Yes.
And the extra body fat, plus the fact that they're over the age of 35, their natural testosterone aromatizes to estrogen, and they get into this deadly cycle where that not only are they producing too much estrogen and too little testosterone, they're starting to have joint problems because of the excess weight that they're carrying on there, and their whole attitude changes. And there are further studies, not completely conclusive, but there are further studies that shows that this excessive weight gain also changes your neurology, which causes you to start going crazy. I've seen people get really fat and start going very crazy.
What do you mean by crazy?
Like they start believing in conspiracy theories. They just literally cannot take any sort of criticism whatsoever. They start basically seeing ghosts and having these crazy conversations with you because they got, I don't know if it's because they got fat. Some people will say, well, they already had a neurological breakdown, which caused them to get fat. And that's the reason why they're acting like this. I can't prove it one way or the other. I've just seen way too much of a correlation with an excessive weight gain. And then all of a sudden, like the mentality changes. People who've been like really overweight their whole life, I don't see it with them. It's the people who like were normal and then maybe they got married or whatever and just completely stopped going to the gym and then just got really fat. I just see like all of a sudden there's just these weird things going through their mind. I don't know. I can't prove anything yet, but I mean, maybe there'll be studies on it. But yeah, that's part of what the issue is. That I've seen that happens before. I'm big into endocrinology. I really do think men over the age of 35 should get their testosterone levels checked.
Okay, this is what I tell every dude, and they get offended by it. They're like, no, my T levels are fine. And I'm like, how do you know that though? Yeah. And they're like, no, I have no like age limit on it.
They can't tell their free or their total test. They can't tell you that. And here's the other thing. They don't tell you their estrogen levels either. And they think they're in shape, but they're pudgy, and because they have like they have mass their test levels are in their like 60s, 70s, 80s. So, or their estrogen levels are, and they don't know the difference. So yeah, that you'll see that happen a lot. And I just think it's there's a lot of things that we have misnomers about,
Yeah, so my healthy range of men.
Okay, that's right. That's what we're talking about.
It's okay. It would be in looks wise like a 7.5 to an 8.7.
Okay, cool. Yes. All right, guys, look at yourself in the mirror. Let's go figure that out real quick.
If you fit in this range, you're qualifiable.
Okay. All right, what else? So we know he's 5'10" or above, and we want him to make 100K, and he needs to be 7.5 to 8.5, right?
Right.
Anything else?
Looks wise.
Anything else?
I prefer like a reformed fuckboy.
Okay.
Because I realize I get along with those better.
That's really smart, actually. I know a lot of people disagree, but like that guy is going to be more entertaining for you. Like he's going to be able to keep your attention. He's going to at least have some experience.
Yeah, I want a guy who's gone through it all and is like, actually, like, it's time to settle down because I'm bored now.
Okay.
You know what
Do
I
you
mean?
mind if he tells you the stories about what his life was like before?
I really don't care.
Okay.
I find it very entertaining, actually. And actually, it's an ego boost for me because I'm like, oh, these are all the hot girls you slept with, and now you're with me. You know what I mean? So even if I'm not as hot as them, something about me made me just as attractive.
Yeah. In the book, it's called mate choice copying.
What is that?
Mate choice copying.
Mate choice copying.
Yeah, it's when women see guys who, like the girls that those, again, the only reason who's the guy that was dating Kim Kardashian, the weird comedian, what's his name?
Oh my gosh, what is his name?
Pete Davidson.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, who was he with
He
before?
dates literally everyone.
Who was he dating before her? The Selena Gomez or the Ariana Grande? So
Ariana Grande.
He's dating Ariana Grande, which is, so she's young and a little bit more relevant.
Yes.
So that's why Kim dates him because of mate choice copying. Because Kim sees her as like younger competition. So now Kim Kardashian dates him. So because of that. So showing, hey, I can do the same thing you can do. And then now whoever he gets next is going to be a girl comparing herself to Kim Kardashian and Ariana Grande. And so he's on this upward cycle of like higher sexual selection because of this thing called pre-selection or mate choice copying. That's
exactly. And like automatically I just feel more special and chosen
Isn't it
because
crazy?
of that.
Yeah.
But like I just recently thought like this, you know, like when I was back in the day when my ex would like show me his exes and they were hotter than me. And I'm like, it made me feel so insecure. You know what I mean? And I'm like, did he settle backwards for me? But now I'm like, I don't know.
I think there's two problems. Number one, with my girlfriend, I have this issue where she says, these girls you know are hotter than you. And then we're all looking at her like, they're not hotter than you. Like, I don't know where you get this idea. That's the first problem. The second thing is, it's very, what's the word? Reductive to believe, especially for my girlfriend, that the only reason I'm with her is because of her level of physical attractiveness. And that if there was a girl 1% hotter, I would leave her for that girl. It's just very reductive.
A lot of women think like that, though.
But it's silly. That's not what I would do at all. I need a partner. I need a unified front with a partner. Those other girls that you think are so hot are not going to present a unified front. They're going to ditch me for a dude with coke. That's what's going to happen.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right? That's what was that? I love these hoes. That song with Juicy J. Go listen to the words to that song. That's what the hotter girl does. They ain't faithful not to anybody. That's what's going on. Don't worry about those just because they're 1% hotter. You're not replaceable just because a girl might be a little hotter. So yeah, that's a thing that happens. But yeah, it's interesting. So you've had some growth and then you've come past that.
Yeah, and now I'm like, actually, that's like flex. If my ex dated hotter women or hot women in general.
Yeah. I wish my girlfriend saw it that way because I'd love to tell her more. But I feel bad because when I do, then it doesn't have that effect.
You should have me talk to her.
Okay, I'll have you talk to her. I'll have you talk to her.
She'll be on the podcast next. And like,
she was on yesterday, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's like a huge flex because let me put it this way. So like my ex and I broke up. I broke up with him. And I think he's like, I feel like he's dating down now, right? Shout
out to all my exes. It's funny that I feel the same way. Nothing but compassion for you, but I feel like you're all dating down.
But I think it's true. I feel like I'm a tough shell to crack, and he cracked it a little bit, and then he just couldn't keep up. So I feel like I'm the better one here.
Yeah.
And like,
where are you gonna find another guy who rescues as many cats as me? Huh? Where are you going to find top 1% on Madden in the world? What are you going to do? Where are you going to find someone better than this?
So yeah, I don't know. So when a guy actually like dates a hot girl, I don't think I guess the difference is not that apparent. Then I feel like I'm on the same level with these women.
Interesting.
In terms of like attraction.
Yeah.
Because like men value attraction.
Yeah,
very much so.
I've dated some supermodels, and they're the only reason they even looked at me twice was because the other girls that I dated before them. They saw who I was dating, and because of that, that's the only reason they even paid attention.
And it makes you a higher value man because you're selective.
Yeah, the Pete Davidson thing is real. It's really real. I mean, I just find him to be a little bit annoying, kind of like wormy, like swarmy looking dude. And
yeah,
for him
but
to get
apparently
that
he's really funny, so that's why girls love him.
Yeah, apparently.
I've never
I'm not trying to hate on the dude. I'm not saying he wouldn't get hot girls. He's obviously famous. Of course he would. It's just like it just seems to be like he's on this like 21 kill streak. You know what I'm saying, on Call of Duty.
Right. But like how much?
Ultra kill. Like that's what he's. You know what I'm saying? He got a nuke on Call of Duty. 25 kills in a row. That's where he's. I don't know if he's a 25 kill in a row guy, but apparently that's what he's doing.
But like, how much hope is he providing?
For men?
For men who are not so attractive.
Because it's like throwing pebbles at an aircraft carrier. You got to crack the first one, and the first one is the Ariana Grande. Most guys can't get that first one. But if you get the first one...
Like the first hot woman?
Yeah, exactly. So like if my guy friends were like not having trouble with women, but there was a perceived notion that they were dating Margot Robbie, then all of a sudden, you're right. Every girl would be coming after them because they were dating Margot, because even if they were dating Margot Robbie for just a couple of months, but that's so inconceivable for any of them to date a girl who looks like that's what makes it kind of difficult, which is why I teach, networking, because eventually you do get into that case. And what you'll find is the first one is hard, and after that, it gets progressively easier.
Because you know what to do and how to approach that.
It's not just that. It's that other women look and say that that's his baseline. That's what he deserves. Men don't get what they deserve based on specifically on their height and looks. There's other levels of competency they have.
Very true.
So for Pete Davidson, one of those levels of competency is he was able to entertain and please a girl of Ariana Grande's stature, and therefore Kim Kardashian sees that and her hindbrain says that he possibly would be able to do the same thing for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, I came to that conclusion with what you're teaching in your mentoring program.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is very true. And yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
You've seen the stuff in my mentoring program?
What?
You've seen the stuff in my mentoring program?
I haven't seen, but apparently my brother is in your mentoring program.
That was shocking to me when I saw that. Yeah.
Oh, thank God, because he has a girlfriend now. So it probably worked.
Not
somehow.
surprised.
I was, because like he's been single for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this dude doing with his life? And then when I said I was going to be on here, he's like, Michael Sartain? I'm like, you know who he is? And I was like, yeah, we met at the Maxim event, and I thought he was cool. And I checked out his podcast, and I liked what he was saying. And I was like, I want to be on this. And he's like, oh my God, that's huge. He's like, did you know he's my mentor?
Yeah, he came on the show the other day. I was like, pretty shocked that he's on my show.
Wait, he came on the show?
Yeah, so I do one free show every 2 weeks, and then I do 2 3-hour calls every week. Those are guys in my program, and then I do Access Vegas every 2 weeks, and then I do there's a couple other shows. Then I do other people's podcasts. He comes on my Tuesday calls.
Wow.
Yeah, your brother does. Mm-hmm.
Very nice guy. Very nice. So yeah, I'm very glad he has a girlfriend, and my dad has a girlfriend, and I am still single.
There we go. We'll come on. I tell you what. Come on the Monday call. There'll be 100 dudes on the call, and then we'll just see.
Stop it.
We'll have them line up for you.
We're going to pimp me out?
We're not going to pimp you out. You have to make the decision.
Stop. We're doing a dating show, basically.
Why not? Let's do it.
That's like literally my Twitch streams back in the day.
You ready? How about this?
How would we do it?
How about this? You can live stream on YouTube or Twitch from my Zoom if you want. Just go live. Just use Restream or whatever in StreamYard, and then you can do that from your end, and then you can see all my stuff on Zoom. There'll be 100 guys on my Zoom while I'm live streaming on YouTube. More than welcome. Friday at 4 o'clock. I'm sorry, Monday at 4 o'clock.
That would literally be wild.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my God, we should do it.
So today we're going to be finding the perfect match for Kasey Ma. They're perfect. Let's do it.
What happens if I find a match there and then like the $7,000 that I already invested in my professional matchmaking just goes down the drain?
I think it's going to go down the drain one way or the other.
No, it's not.
To be fair.
Well, my brother did it also, and he said like he met 3 wonderful females.
Did he have sex with all 3 of them at the same time? Seems
I
like he wasted the $7,000 then.
Well, his was half the price. I paid for 6. Right?
Yeah.
Income brackets. But like I just have more hope. So I fired my previous matchmaker. This new one I grilled. Like there's no way this girl's effing up. Like she's not. And she asked very intuitive questions. I think it's because she's scared of me though. Because she knows that I fired the other one.
Okay, so let's do this. We'll have all the guys come on and you can grill them, and then afterwards we can ask them what their impression is of you and whether or not you're intimidating.
While I'm off the call.
No, while you're on it. Who cares?
Oh my God. This would be crazy.
Who cares?
But I am intimidating. I already know that.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm sure they're pretty intimidated.
See, and this is why I can't find a guy.
So here's the thing. It's not intimidated. It's like a function of preference. It's not really. Intimidation is this word that girls use to sort of cope. I'm not saying someone.
Cope?
Cope. Like if I met Candace Parker, I'd probably be a little intimidated because she's one of the best basketball players in the world. Not to date her, but she's like 6'6". You know what I'm saying? That would be a case where a man might be intimidated. If I met Sheryl Sandberg, I wouldn't be intimidated, but like she is a multi-billionaire, right? Like I can see that. But like as far as attraction is concerned, most of the time women are saying, girl, he didn't pick you because he's intimidated. No, I sleep on a comfortable bed. I didn't buy a bed of rocks. That doesn't mean I'm intimidated by a bed of rocks. I personally do not prefer pickles. I don't like, just a weird thing, I don't like pickles. I'm not intimidated by pickles. I just have a preference for other things. And so a lot of times what dudes will say is like, wow, look at all these things I have to compete with. I would just kind of like a calm life, and for her to provide peace in my life, she's not going to do that. So I prefer not to. And then her friends help her cope by saying, girl, he was intimidated by you when he wasn't. I really wish women would stop using that term because it's not helpful.
What would you call it when a guy is thinking about a girl's attraction level, her success in her own career, that like maybe she's not working for someone else, or like she's an entrepreneur and she like has her shit together, makes above 6 figures, all of this stuff, she dresses well, whatever, has the connections, good networking.
So let's say I'm a dude and I want validation from my girl, which includes like regularly for us to be together, intimate, and for us to show a unified front and for her to not embarrass me. If I don't feel like I'm going to get those things because she has a 6-figure job and because she's famous on social media, that doesn't mean I'm intimidated. That means that I have chosen something that's a little easier. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Easier? What do you mean easier?
You know how some people will buy a comfortable car and some people will buy a race car. Some people will just buy that big old long sedan and it's just a comfortable ride. That's what a lot of times, that's what guys want, is the comfortable ride. They're not intimidated by the Lamborghini. It's just a factor of like, what's the preference? The preference is the easier way to get around. Like, so here's another thing I think that's a little different. If you get cheated on as a woman, you really don't lose your status because you're still pretty. You don't lose that much. If I get cheated on, I get embarrassed. I could lose clients. I could lose friends. It gets really bad. I fucked your bitch in some Gucci flip-flops. That's why they say it. Okay?
Right.
Oh, was that your girl? Oops. That's what it is, right? So that's one of the parts that's different. Here's the other thing for me. Literally, there are people who want me dead. There are people who want to take my money. There are people who want to take my clients. There's tons of dudes who want to steal my girlfriend. Every day I have to deal with this. Yeah. So when I come home, now I have to deal with you. It's that I don't want to deal with shit. It's not that I'm intimidated. It's that I need for things to be smooth. Does that make sense?
Right.
I didn't buy a PlayStation 5 so the controller could blow up in my hands. I bought it so I can play video games. It's not that I have a preference for comfort and stability because the rest of my life is unstable. There's going to be comments on this very video where dudes are going to talk shit about me. So I want comfort for the rest of my life. It's not a function of intimidation. Now, there could be jealousy once we're in a relationship and now we go to red carpet events and it's nothing but like tall, handsome actors coming up and like reach around and grabbing your ass while I'm not looking. That would be jealousy. I don't know if it'd be intimidation. I might be intimidated of other people in your life, but I'm not going to be intimidated because you make a bunch of money. I think it's the wrong word. I think the word is preference. I think it's probably a better way to do it.
Interesting. Yeah, because a lot of guys that I like date in the entertainment industry or, some sort of creative field that maybe might not have gone as far as I did, then maybe they're jealous.
I bet if you ask them, they're not going to say they were intimidated. If you ask them, they're going to be like, yeah, jealous could be one too, but that's also not intimidated. I think intimidated is something like this, because in order for me to be intimidated, like for instance, if I was going to get into the ring with Mike Tyson in 1987, I'm intimidated because he's going to hurt me.
You're literally scared.
Because I'm competing with him. If I'm competing with my girlfriend, she's not my girlfriend. That I'm not supposed to compete with my girlfriend. Does that make sense?
Right.
So I think it's more of a function of preference. If the girl's like, well, I intimidate him. So you're competing with me? So what's going on? Why would I be intimidated?
Right.
I think people are asking the wrong questions. And I think intimidation for a woman to say a man was intimidated is such a cope and a reframe for her to feel better about the fact that he ghosted her. And I think that is not the proper way to look at it. The proper way to look at it is to say, are you doing the things that make a man attracted to you, like femininity, loyalty? Is there a function of like peace that you bring into his life? Because if there isn't, you don't ever allow him to lead. That's not a function of femininity or a function of intimidation. It's just he's looking at you. You're pretty, but you don't have the qualities he likes. So he looks just a little bit over to the right, and he sees another version of you who looks like you, but she is going to let him lead.
Right.
And she isn't going to cause any kind of drama in his life. So he picks her. It wasn't he was intimidated by you. He just had a preference. Does that make sense?
Right. I mean, that's why communication is so important. Like, even though I go to all these networking events, if I'm constantly texting my significant other, even if he's not there, and I'm saying, hi, I'm doing this, I'm going home at this time, I love you, I feel like it's totally fine.
Yeah, if there's any like insecurity, I usually find a unisex bathroom and have sex with my girlfriend in it. I think that usually helps.
Nice. I've never done that before. I should try
did I say that out? Is
this part of your relationship advice in your mentoring program?
I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I didn't see any law against it. Sorry.
Look at Chapter 5, Section 3B.
Yeah,
It's in the fine print.
Love it. Where can we find you in the future?
You can find me, Kasey Ma, on all channels, KSEYMA, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, everything. Twitter with 2 underscores. I don't know why they hate me there. But yeah, you can find me on there, and maybe another reality show in the future.
What do you have on planned in the future? Another reality show? Anything else?
Well, you have to not be on a dating show for 2 years after you just aired a dating show. But I do have some auditions.
Okay.
Coming
and
up.
Then you also have an agency?
Yes, and I have an influencer agency that I just launched like literally this week, and I basically just help content creators and influencers land brand deals the way I've been doing since 2015.
Brand deals. Got it. Okay.
Mostly brand deals, but I also care about the development of them as well. So it's like kind of like management, but I'm running it like an agent.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey guys, thank you for joining us. I'm glad Kasey came out here. She flew out from Los Angeles
Just
to
for
hang
you.
out with us. Just to hang out with us. We've been partying all weekend. Surprised she made it. She had a wild night last night.
So wild.
Thank you for making it out here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Guys, if you appreciate this, if you like this, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. And if you enjoyed Access Vegas, I really appreciate, man, the feedback I've been getting on that is pretty incredible. When Rolo came to me with the idea, I didn't think it was going to be that big. Soon I'm going to be starting a new show with Spencer Cornelia here in a month or two. We're going to be doing that. And then also the Monday live streams, we're going to keep doing those things. I have a bunch of great interviews coming up. By the time this airs, it'll already happen, but I'm going on Jedediah Bila. I'm going on Adam Sosnick podcast. Then I'm going on Fresh and Fit a couple of times. And we're also doing Babes in Toyland in Miami. And then EDC is going to come up after that. So guys, please stay tuned. I love it. For those of you who are interested in how I'm able to build the networks that I'm able to build, and you're interested in some of the ways that I'm able to change people's social media and help them be able to be better networkers, please check out moamentoring.com. But if you do it, don't do it at work because it's not safe for work. Okay? Awesome. Thank you guys for all the new subs. Just hit 50K subs. I appreciate that. And I will see you guys all next week.
You